Well, regardless, the snowball effect, technically real, but not happening.
Oh,
this was a big error. He had all the Marines in the natural mineral line. Do you anticipating something like this? We'll get to it at hand.
The Cyclone was here for the Oracle, which you can still help out against, because unfortunately this wasn't perfectly timed. It was kind of like I got in, like I'll try, but he probably wanted to wait and have 3 Adepts in Oracle in the natural. They would have slaughtered all of the Marines. The Cyclone had to come down and kind of be confused what to kill, and that would have been better. But it's all, it's one of those like, I even got in, let's try this.
I mean, I doubt that was intentional out of Tasia, but if it was, that's actually the sickest, most genius move ever.
I don't know about that. I don't know. A lot of Protoss, it feels, have been going into triple Oracle, or maybe I've just been casting at an extreme amount of trap. He does play in the Ballistic Sprawl as well, I guess. I'm kind of confused, but I don't even know if I like it, but it keeps happening.
Well, we've seen Trap actually a lot. So yeah, maybe you threw the Ballistic Sprawl, but just through everything. Like Trap has been kind of akin to Cure in that way, like just playing in mostly every event he sees. And on that note, I will go tisk because the timing of the attack shouldn't have been off like that. But oh no, the Viking's been brought across the field, not aware that he needs all the defense at home, all hands on deck. These are 3 Oracles coming in. They're gonna melt that Cyclone. They could probably deny Stim. In fact, I'd love to see him do that over going for SCV kills.
Oh, well, that is what can happen when you go for more than 1 Oracle, especially up to 3, right? Is that you can kill those production, right? It was like, who was the person that did SOS, I think, maybe? I don't remember, but he went right for that Stim. And it was like, oh, wow, that's really annoying. Because, like, how often are you going to be able to respond quickly enough? You don't have Stim. So I was going to be able to cancel it. But it's, like, not what we've been seeing from Trap with the triple Oracle. And it's, again, like, I hate to harp on it so much because I know there's got to be, like, a very legitimate reason as to why it's kind of becoming a thing again. Oh, this is just going to be good. But it's, the triple Oracle, like 2 Oracle is already expensive, but 3 Oracle? 3? That's a robo there. Robo and Immortal. Something a little more helpful if the stasis traps don't work out.
Well, the stasis trap here, in effect, did. As you guys will notice, he stopped dead in his tracks to turn around. Not because he was worried about losing the Marines, of course, but he just needed the extra power with the attack. Revelation now tags his army. He sends a Marine forward. A couple force fields on this ramp. There's not enough medevacs to lift everything over. I'm not worried for Trap at all in terms of the defense. Not right now, at least.
Tasia might not be so worried about doing an offense either. I tried very poorly to do an opposite sentence to your statement, because he doesn't have combat shields, right? He does have +1 Marauder Slow, but like the combat shield was either a little bit late or just like this is the timing that he usually has. But the point is, it's not an ideal scenario to even try and break up against the sentries. But this is the one benefit of Fracture defensively, is that you do have these chokes and ramps if you keep eyes on the army, which more than 1 Oracle should certainly be good at doing if I can get bopped.
Yeah, having information on Tasia is going to be key. Like, absolutely, these revelations are the most valuable spell he could cast. It allows Trap to do something risky like that. Blink in and snipe a medevac off, taking away a lot of power from Tasia, because, of course, now if he stims, he can't heal that up.
Yeah. It's really good control. He got away basically for free for getting that medevac. These Oracles could certainly come in. You don't really build missile turrets against Oracles as a Terran player. Oh, whoa, he actually goes up the ramp here. Does do a hot pickup to save some of his army, and it's not a terrible trade there.
No, actually, I thought that went pretty decently.
That seems like kind of even. It's one of those things where if you'd been able to target on the sentries, it probably would have even been better for Tasia, but only grabbed whatever units on the front line.
I do like that he advances Widowmine's up too. Just a chance to get that shut off. No detection at the moment. Widowmine will miss its shot on the Stalkers, unfortunately, but even with the Zealots coming in, they don't have charge yet. Bit of a bad timing here. 10 seconds to go, so they can't quite connect to the army, and Concussive Shells keeps them at bay. Oh, Tasia. It's not doing amazing GG damage, but that was a pretty good fight, considering he was set up for a bad engagement with those force fields.
Yeah, I guess Trap was literally setting up a trap. He brought his sentries back as opposed to just continuously spamming a block on the ramp. He brought them back, kind of let Tasia in. I feel like it almost backfired. And if Tasia knew he was going to do that, it could have. But these oracles are doing some pretty nice damage. Instead, I was trying to explain, like, you don't really get missile turrets at all. But at third base, you would hope that the oracles are too busy scouting your army.
He just got both of the freshly dropped mules, too. That's going to sting for Tasia.
Yeah. Now, luckily, you don't lose a lot of momentum on this map when you have to pull back to defend something. So that's, I guess, like a good part of it being a very small map. But he certainly does lose the momentum. Trap was doing a fantastic job of holding regardless. And now he's on his way to Storm, which is something that Tasia really can't take on without either a very sizable bio army or some of those Liberators, because I don't think he's going to be able to get the Ghosts soon enough. But those Widowmines get some really good shots. The entire Zealot army dies, and it's Marauders versus Stalkers. Tasia not feeling too confident to move in, tries to redirect. I'm surprised by that.
I was really curious. He hasn't taken the time to knock down these rocks, which certainly helped with trying to push up this ramp.
Yes, that's a good point as well. I thought he was going to push the fourth base. That's there was like no Immortal at the time that he saw, and he knows there's a fourth base. Well, kind of, anyways, because there's a pylon there.
I think he was just waiting on the Widowmine cooldowns, by the way, because now they're available. He throws them and moves up.
I guess that's a safer play in case there's like a 7 charge lots on the way. 9 SVs went down again. There's like a lot of harassment. 10, just a single zealot, couple zealots in the natural. Yikes. Not bad. But the Nexus does go down.
Well, and supply blocks to trap too.
Oh,
that was unexpected.
Oh, but the Liberators now. Well, they would love to make sure that he can never be chased by those storms, but this is some really nice harassment by Trap to bring that army back.
Yeah, this is something that can't be ignored any longer. That War Prism's caused a lot of chaos. I will note, by the way, Trap is in a lot of very tactical pickoffs, right? Like, it doesn't sound like a lot to really brag about, but grabbing the Liberators, grabbing the Medevacs, and all of these without too much risk to his own Stalkers. Like, he's done some really great grabs, but all things considered, I still don't know that this army deficit is something he's going to overcome. Storms are beautiful, but there's also a hell of a lot of Widowmines. There's a lot of splash damage on both sides of the field.
If he can keep the Liberator count down, then I truly believe in the amount of storms that he has. But that's what Tasia would love to try and make sure doesn't happen. Unfortunately, he also has to continue producing medevacs as he's been perusing so much with his army. He just is out of medevac energy. There's too many fights, too many stims. So it's a very hard balance for Terran.
Not only that, but also the fact that, Trap has been picking them off. Like, these Stalkers have been doing a lot of those tactical snipes, like I discussed. Now, the Templar are a little exposed, but unfortunately, Tasia only grabs about 2 of them.
Yeah, it was scary. I thought they were going to run into the Widowmines accidentally. These Zealot run-bys have been so crucial. Like, Tasia's been doing an excellent job. I guess it is Oracles as well, but also like it's both, right? Because there was a Warp Prism this entire time in the bottom. I thought it was a pylon, to be honest. But anyways, it's pulling him back. It's taking away the focus from the fight, in which occasionally he would have an advantage, a momentum edge. Oh no!
This is the I'm fed up move.
Yeah, it really is.
GG. I don't know that Tasia was so far behind he needed to do the I'm fed up move, but I don't blame him either.
Yeah, I guess so. If he takes a fight on the high ground with a concave, it so only goes marginally better because he just simply did not have an answer to the storms. Splitting will only ever do so much. So, I guess, just say F it. But tough game. If he hadn't pulled back like 4 or 5 times, he might have been able to take it.
Well, it's game 1 in a best of 3, and it was a small map that he chose not to proxy on. Maybe we'll see a different side of Tasia depending on what the map is. Luckily, it is his choice, so he gets to pick. And
he makes the map with Game Heart, Rifkin.
Is Tasia just your favorite Terran, dude?
I have a new crush.
Alive who?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Lost and Found. Pretty much like the most picked safe map. This and Acid Plan, I think, but
he even makes me referee.
Yeah, but he also made me referee. So
damn.
All right, let's hop into Lost and Found, guys. See you on the map. Unfortunately, nothing too interesting happening in this game so far. So spawning in the top right, staying at home, we have the blue Darren player, Tasia, not proxying.
In the bottom left, as the red Protoss, he is Trap. Also not proxying? Not that that's something you should know.
I guess, well, entirely possible. Trap could be doing a proxy. Yeah, it's not. What's this question here out of Mech Xavier? Bay Street TV, what country is currently your largest viewing country? As far as this particular stream, they changed some stuff about that. I don't know if I can see that right now. But in general, it tends to be USA, number one. Then under that, either Korea or Germany, depending on the time zones. Then Canada and Switzerland or Sweden, and then just random countries after that.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
I would presume it's going to be the same for now.
Yeah, I would assume that too. While we have a normal opener here, the next is going down because this probe knows what's going on. Since I've seen multiple comments, and I'm sure some are trolling, some are just usual, like, you'll kick bad person, lost the game. Some of them might be legitimate. This guy, Tasia, all right, I don't think overrated is a word you could really use for him during his professional years before military, first of all. You could maybe use it now, but when you consider how fast he got this good, he is the best comeback player of the people you can imagine, right? So like fantasy, parting.
Yeah, look at
actually, that's kind of it, right?
Well, there was the reference I was going to make was MA, but then he kind of even fell off a little bit too.
Yes.
So without a doubt, like, many people, Supernovas and all the ones you listed, like,
yeah, there you go.
Tasia's definitely had the best comeback story of all the players who were retired and returned to the game. And I've seen this in comments too, right? The guys say, oh, he's better off just going to Brood War and stuff like that. Whatever, guys. Play with what your heart desires. Like, who cares if some random troll thinks you're not great at StarCraft 2? If Tasia still enjoys playing StarCraft 2, I say more power to him. And to be honest, if he has watched his stream, I think it's safe to say he actually enjoys playing the game.
The Brood War thing, I feel, is just like funny because I don't think Tasia was, if he played Brood War, he was never particularly good at it. I mean, I guess everyone played Brood War, but it's just, not professionally. So it's like one of those things you say to fantasy. Fantasy is the one where, like, you basically go na boo boo. A Brood War pro gamer actually likes StarCraft 2 more. Suck it. But for Tasia, not so much. But anyways, like my ultimate point was to point out how fucking good this guy is, and Liquid hiring him definitely makes him, bringing him back, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's not like a pity, like, oh, welcome back to the family. It's like, well, this guy's going to get us a lot of money, probably. So this is a good pickup, and Tajia's performing really well, even though he lost that last game. We do have the depth pressure that's a scary. Oh, that was actually...
Didn't even see that.
Well, needed a trap, and that's an important part because he could have done the thing he didn't do last game, which was combine all of his units and try and hit the natural.
And he's done a bit of a swap with that Widowmine too, which is cool. Chat might come in here thinking like, okay, you know what, the Widowmine's on cooldown, I got 30 seconds to get in. But he swapped the Widowmines, the one that is available. Well, the other one will be off cooldown now too. But point is, he's got a Widowmine per mineral line. These oracles will not be nasty like before. And in fact, the Viking on top, this is huge. The Viking last game flew across the map, landed, killed like a probe, and that was like it.
This is going really well. I think Tasia reading really into how Trap potentially could have played that last game, and then also just in general having this competition against someone who's going to be generally aggressive and kind of map dominant with those units. Like, that is Trap. Trap to me is a Stargate player who plays with the depths. He's actually one of the few Protosses that still regularly, I think, does Resonating Glaive builds with like Phoenix as well, though he hasn't shown that yet today. So this is just good read. Trap is making slight mistakes as well to kind of let these units be lost, like that one at depth, the damage on the Oracle, but very, very small stuff. Otherwise, he is still looking okay, but he does miss this army. Tasia misses the proxy pylon, and there's no bunker. So I think this might go worse for Tasia. Huh.
I'm gonna put an asterisk on that. I think a lot of this could come down to some decision making, like Trap has to stay too long before recalling. Does he recall right away? Oracles get split and segmented to come home. Ooh, landing the Viking I don't like.
It's not really a base trade because they cannot kill each other's bases that quickly with these small of armies, but it's a general idea, right? Like the faster you can quick kill your opponent, the better.
No.
Unfortunately, the oracles really help out here, and that is just it.
Oracles are pretty powerful, as it turns out. I did not expect an abrupt death for Portasia. I don't think anyone else did either. Definitely came as a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, abrupt 2-0. It kind of sucks.
It does, but hey, we got to see some Tasia, which was nice because I haven't got to see any Tasia really since his return. We also have another matchup that hasn't played out yet that might be available for us next, and that's I think Krankus Cast and Gumio versus Cloudy. They're in game 2 at the moment. Winner plays Ragnarok. Might be nicely lined up. If not, we can always catch a gimme with Innovation, or on the bottom side we have Solar versus potentially Bunny. So there's a couple of good games that are shaping up for this, even though we mismatched this one. The other round of 16 games are looking pretty good, and of course the round of 8 will look better beyond that, etc., etc. I guess a quick rundown though before we go to break again or anything like that, folks, is if you are unfamiliar with the Ollimoleague, it's just your standard single elimination Korean weekly tournament. In fact, just a little display capture thing. And when we just get a free for all whatever matches we can up to this point. We will always cast both semifinals and the grand finals. So it's 2 best of 3s and a best of 5 guaranteed, despite whatever the rigmarole is getting to it. So while we've had some downtime and maybe some quick matches, we should have a couple more games before we're into the guaranteed matches with those semifinals and such. But we'll get into that in a moment. We are going to be heading to a break, but before we do go to break, I want to quickly just remind everybody who is coming from the front page for the first time that this is StarCraft 2, but think of it more as like StarCraft 2 with your friends. I just don't want people to have the wrong impression, expecting super professionalism and things like that, because it's not something we advertise. Although, granted, we still pretty much rock every cast. Don't get me wrong. I just don't want people getting all upset because, like, oh my God, they're talking about something other than the game for 3 seconds. That's unhearable. Why can't they be like Artosis and Tasteless, who never get off topic about the game? YouTube commenter 45567. But at any rate, folks, we have many more games ahead of us. It's just a matter of navigating the brackets to find them. So stick around. Be back with some more StarCraft 2 in a few. Thanks for watching.
Look at the sky, the sun won't ask for what it can rise. Look at your mind and ask yourself what keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lights that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky, the sun won't ask, 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 the world is right. The sunlight begins to fade now.
Hey, folks, took a few more seconds than expected. Was responding to a question in chat from That's Nothing. It says, "Hi, serious question. Where do I catch your content apart from a live stream? I notice you don't have a YouTube. Is there a place you store your finished tournaments?" Yes. First off, if you guys ever miss a live stream here on Twitch, granted, Twitch VODs are not the best place because Twitch VODs kind of suck sometimes. But if you can get them to work, Twitch VODs are not subscriber gated. You don't have to be subscribed to access the past videos here on the channel. So if you want to see anything we've cast, go for it. Otherwise, we do have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. It is perhaps the slowest growing StarCraft 2 channel. Man, it's killing me. I love the guys. Respect to them. Like Loco kills it, Winter kills it. Their YouTube channels are blowing up. I think we've gotten about 1,000 subscribers in 3 years. Fuck, it feels so bad, man. But anyways, yes, we do have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/BaseTradeTV. If you want extra content, we do have a Discord server, which we do a lot of the non-stream conversation stuff on. Sometimes it's just posting memes. Sometimes it's updates. Sometimes it's giveaways for the subscribers. Either way, we do a lot of stuff on our Discord, so I would definitely recommend checking that out too. You can type !Discord in the chat, or it's just discord.gg/BaseTradeTV. I don't know, these last 3 months really trying to work extra hard at putting stuff in outside of our Twitch content, but it's really tough because, and I'm not going to complain like, oh my God, I have a hard life. It's nothing like that, but it's more like, you see us on stream for like 4 to 5 hours. There's about another 4 hours of planning, preparation, setting up stuff outside of that. So for me, I don't think after I've spent like 8 hours, I need to do more, but I realized we do. So things like the Patreon and providing more rewards and doing replay casts and what was a big string of Beasts of the Hills, but lately I've just been too sick, which I feel awful about too. Get that topic later, but yeah, I've been working a little bit harder to try and do stuff outside of just the normal casting. So if you ever want to partake in Discord or YouTube and you want to see more or see other things, I'm always very open and very receptive to ideas because it's hard to know what you guys want really at the end of the day.
And sometimes you don't know what you want.
Also, for this guy who's reporting it, everything is just a number. It says players are actually live streaming their plays in the Ollimoleague, which kind of takes away from the viewership. Maybe you look into that. That's not I've already replied to this guy in chat, but just to explain, guys, like I, for one, first off, I know this is not a problem. Olivia typically lets them stream whatever they want, and then they got to turn it off at the semifinals or something, right? But my personal philosophy is I wish that more people would stream during tournaments. I not only don't care that they are, because who cares if it affects our viewership or not, it also just feels like makes a healthier streaming environment. Like for me, I've been doing this for like 6 years at this point, and even a couple before that, watching a lot of Twitch. And I feel like what really killed a lot of hype for StarCraft 2 was all the pros stopped streaming. Like WCS hit, it got big money, so everyone couldn't risk showing their builds on stream, so people chose not to stream. It kind of became like a thing after 3 or 4 years, where just like, you look at it, right? Most of the Team Liquid sidebar is not pro players. It's people like ourselves, or Rotterdam, or others, like M. Cannings and such. I'm not saying it's cause and effect, and I'm not saying it's definitive, but for me, a big part of what killed, I think, the streaming environment for Twitch was all the pros choosing not to stream their matches. And I think lately, you guys will notice this too, some of the most hype viewership we've seen has been when like Scarlet or Tasia or just players are actually streaming their games and practicing ladder or whatever. So to the effect of like, yes, this is not a problem for the tournament. Thank you for bringing it up. Not concerned, but also I just wish we could push that more. Like, guys, please stream your matches.
It's a lot of fun. It's who the hell is biology? They don't have a game yet. I'm looking at the bracket.
In high school,
right? But some guy named Biology beat Keen 2-1.
Oh. Interesting.
Now, I could say that, life kind of is biology and vice versa.
No. But it'll be interesting because Keen has actually not been showing the greatest games lately. I don't think it's insane that an unknown name would take him down. I'll see how that looks a little bit closer later, though. He's got a nice ride to the end. If he could beat Keen, it's safe to say he could beat Alive if he can get through Silky. That might just be a semifinals match where we'll see a player named Biology. But who the hell has just joined this lobby?
I think it's a Chinese caster, but I don't know why he comes in and is like, wow.
Wow. Oh, no player. Very confused. Yeah, so for those who don't know what we're waiting on, and again, I do apologize because it is a bit of wait time. Trying to grab one of the Southern possible matches. Again, here's a quick look at the... Nope. Do display capture. There we go. Of either Solar versus potentially Bunny, or... Well, I guess give me a Rain Rocks round. We can grab that. I don't know. We're just waiting on a player to be available, basically. That's what we're doing in this lobby.
Ragnarok has been in a game for a while, so I don't know if that was a delayed bracket advance or he's in a lot of... I don't know. Gumiho's on here.
Well, either way, we got Solar and Bunny by the looks of it, so... Yay! Downtime aversion!
I think so anyways. I didn't ask Bunny yet if he was 2-0. I think so was one inviting him.
Well, regardless, I actually, despite not having the greatest win streak recently on the channel, I am a big fan of Solar. So, always happy to see him versus whoever. In this case, it happens to be Bunny, who is not a bad Terran player. Titan EX1, I think, and him have parted ways. So he's a free agent.
I think so, yeah. Oh, Bunny. He's been a good Terran every now and again. We got 2 minutes. The countdown begin.
Okay. This is going to the bathroom. Hopefully we'll be back before 2 minutes. But going back to the previous topic, same person asks, are builds just that much of an edge in regards to streaming? Some of the best players like MVP or NST played straight up outside of a few wacky builds. When you watch a player stream, maybe you as the viewer are watching for things like what's his build order, right? I don't think that's what a lot of pros are looking for. I think what they end up looking for is more like, what is his reaction? How does this person handle this situation, right? And it's not about trying to get a blind build counter because Gumiho always goes factory first or something. It's just more like, what does he do in this situation as you watch him grind the ladder out? And that gives you a big edge, knowing like, okay, I won't go Hydralisks because he clearly knows how to handle Hydralisks, so I'll play Ling Bane instead. It's not to say definitively this will be the case for everybody, but it's just one of many examples.
Absolutely. Knowing someone is more keen on mech at this current day is like, it's like a mental edge thing, right? Like you're still going to check, you're still going to make sure it's an overseer in, but especially like with Gumiho is the example. It's like, it's not just going to be like, wait till max mech either. It's aggressive. So, and Gumiho has been, again, a prime example for this conversation. He's been a very experimental player recently, trying to perfect weird things. So it'd be very good to get information on him.
Hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, Fracture is the map. If you guys are just joining us on the stream, it's Solar versus Bunny. We've had an unfortunate amount of wait time for this. It's just sometimes the luck of the draw for the brackets, but looks like Bunny is back, and hopefully Solar's still here so we can get going. Jake the State Farmer! Thank you very much for your service. See you guys in game. All right, folks, it's a brand new best of 3. You've been waiting long enough, and here we are, still in 16 for the Ollimulig, and it's crazy to me that this is a round of 16 match, but that's what happens when you get a lot of good players signed up to play. To the top left, we have the Red Zerg. It's Solar.
The bottom right was the Blue Terran. He is Bunny.
All right, folks, a couple things to just cover real quick. One is, of course, we are on the Korean server. You may see a little bit of stutter. Don't worry, it's not your stream. It's not me lagging. It just tends to be what Korea is. But actually, so far, today's been not too bad. Knock on wood. Secondly, for those who have not been following the brackets, you can absolutely follow them on your own for the matches we're not casting. Prank's covering some games, too, and there's other channels casting this. Just type !brackets in the Twitch chat, or you can check out the Team Liquid sidebar for the other live streamed matches. But the last thing to kind of cover is the stream delay, because it's been brought up and granted not often complained about, but just to address it so people are aware. There's a 2-minute stream delay in place for tournaments like this. It's not entirely unheard of, even though I have worked pretty hard to get rid of stream delay in a lot of cases. I think it's a lot more fun when it's super live and not delayed. But when you've got a lot of money and points on the line and a lot of players you may have never heard of before, it makes sense you would want to not say, hey, everybody's going to stream cheat, so let's put a 2-minute delay on, but it's more like, let's put a 2-minute delay on so nobody's tempted to stream cheat. No, it would be ineffective in the first place. So Olimoly, tournament organizer, imposes the rule. We kind of have to do this or we can't cast at all. So it is happening live for us. It's just slightly delayed for you who are watching it. These aren't replays or something silly like that. This is just, unfortunately, the way to cast the tournament.
Right. We did have a pull first from our Zerg player on a small map. Bunny might have been the best off by going for an SCV scout, but it's it's a risk that Terrans take. He will have his command center maybe slightly delayed. Yeah, he got a Marine, which helps in this situation perfectly against just 2 lanes.
Oh, he's dancing with that SCV. He wanted to poke. Let's get down to it. He does handle this on the other SCV. Should go back to, building the command center. So a small delay, but nothing too crazy.
We don't have a reactor on that factory. It looks like he's going to be going for what seems to be just so popular on Fracture, just like in general on this map, which is that like Cyclone and Aliens thing. But he's also just not building anything with this. There we go. There's a Cyclone.
I think his gas, a bit of a problem for Bunny because he pushed out the starport so quick.
Yeah.
Well, the Reaper heads back towards the main. He'll see what he can see, frankly. But with so many queens pushing about, there's not really anywhere for this Reaper to go. And with speed, for these Lings already finished, he can't really stick around for a fight. So pulling back with a Reaper and maybe getting a Suicide Scout in about a minute wouldn't be too bad. Confirm the extra gases, see the layer timing, something like that.
Yeah. Usually it's not much use for the Reaper. Sometimes it'll help out with like the Hellions or any type of push. Like a grenade can go a long way, but generally not useful. We don't have a swap over to Hellions, so it's actually just right into a tank, which is very safe, but then loses like anti-Ling defense for your third CC. Like that, eventually you'll get enough units again to be fine against Lings, but really this is for holding up in your 2 bases behind a wall type of defense.
I'm so jaded about tank usage. I swear to God, I try to use them in my games and it just goes terribly. I watch pros do it though, and you're like, yeah, that was a great idea to go for tanks. Sometimes I wish I wasn't a garbage player, but then I probably wouldn't win games with proxy doors. So, the trade-off.
What a trade-off.
It's not a good one. I didn't say it was a good trade-off.
That's a decent number of Marines that could, I guess that's kind of his anti-Ling surround force if he tries to take his third base, because that's like an okay amount for not already having your barracks production, just having a reactor for an extended period of time.
For somebody who's unlimited gases, Solar losing an extractor like that is going to be a little painful, because he just put both of his evolution chambers into full effect there, double upgrades, failing nests on the way, and he's doing all of this now off of one. No, that was it. He's got no gas, funny enough.
That can sometimes be a timing. Sometimes you watching the super late game, like it's just kind of whenever they remember. But for the early to mid game, important. The Marines usually pair up here as we have a slow, small trickle of a rally here. Like that's very interesting. He actually brings the tanks forward too. I feel like this has gone about what I would have expected if I knew this is what he was going to do.
Ooh, he's getting queens of his tank. So you know what? I like the unsieged tank in this situation. As long as he picks it up as it loses it, but
Yeah, that was the caveat there. Like, instead of turning so low because there's so many queens attacking it, that losing the tanks, even one tank, I don't actually think is ultimately worth it.
No, and the medevac on top of that, a little bit greedy going back the way she did, I suppose, but still not great for Bunny in terms of the attack. So he is effectively shut down, but, third CC's up in the main. His production is rolling out. Well, he's going to be behind upgrades for a long time, down 1-1. It takes still one-shot circlings at the end of the day.
Well, I think it's safe to say that Bunny was hoping for a greedier Zerg. There was a lot of things missing in this game. For both players, I guess, really. Like, Solar is not on 60 drones quite yet. He was on 48 for a lot of that fight, but that was totally appropriate for how he was able to handle it. Now he has knowledge of safety. He that was a bit of a weird attack, but he dealt with it. He didn't lose all of his queens either, although he did lose some. And yeah, he had to spend a lot of money on Lings, but now he has a really long time where Sim is not on the way. And I don't know if he knows that 100% or not, because this has been a kind of a weird build. But they sent the Marines out, so at the very least won't be as many Marines. They have a third CC, so that's already a little bit of a play there as well. Where you can get to 60, 65, 70 drones, whatever, your fourth base back up. This is the time for you to creep spread. This is the time where the Zerg comes back. Where Bunny, he wanted to do more damage almost for sure with a surprise attack. He wanted to catch Solar at 60 drones. No creep spread type of deal. And momentum kind of feels like it's going to be back in Solar's favor, but we're on a very small map, and that could quickly change because Bunny is, credit to him, he's had that tank production for a while, so he's back up to 3. That's still a fine pushing force once he has Sim and combat shields.
Also, because the stream delay conversation is still going on, just to add some more to this, there's a point that's been made that's very true. There's very few pros I could ever see feeling the need to stream sheet to beat somebody. And a lot of them are very trustworthy. So that's why we get to do the monthly finals, and it's typically 8 pros that we all know and trust. That's when Olivia doesn't tell us we need to use a stream delay, right? So it is mostly just because, it's an open tournament sign up. They had a round of 64. There's a lot of players you just don't know that you can trust on the bracket.
Thank you. Yeah, so tomorrow, I guess, no stream delay.
Hopefully not. Get some really strange, suspicious guy in the monthly finals. You're like, damn it, you ruined it for everything else. Now, this was a really good force out of Solar, enough to at least scare Bunny back. So he walks back. He's going to clean up a couple tumors. But my fear is that Solar is not doing an extraordinary amount of creep spread, but it is on Fracture an extraordinary amount of creep spread, as it's already crossed halfway on the map. Well, that's, of course, caused by the fact that this being a much shorter map.
We see a lot of the most natural thing you would assume for a short map is, instant and continuous pressure from the Terran. That's why initially it might have seemed like a Terran favorite map. And I don't know what the stats are right now, but anyways, we've actually been seeing a lot more Terrans just go into the Supreme late game. Solar is thinking, I got this creep spread. I got five bases. He's going on his 5th.
Oh, no.
And he's cleaning up all the drops. So he's probably feeling on cloud 9 right now, which is totally fine for him to be feeling. But
no, that's Worlds for League of Legends.
Shut up, I'm here to do that. The Terrans have actually just been maxing out and basically forcing the Zerg to come to them, even with Ultras, even with Vipers. The one caveat being that if Brood Lords did make it out, it's kind of tough, but I don't think that's going to happen soon for Solar.
That mineral line block was just awful for the Lings there. I can't believe how bad that was. But, the drop gets away to unload in the main. It'll be picked up again. There'll be a little bit of dancing here for a small amount of time. But realistically, we're talking about the possible Brood Lords and all these other things. But I think what's most terrifying for Bunny is the situation that, he really can't afford to push, not because of an army supply deficit, but these upgrades are kind of a big deal. Solar's still 1-1 above Bunny and will be even for some time. He'll get to 3-3 before Bunny does 2. So Bunny, if he like can stall the game out long enough to get those upgrades evened up, he can maybe take some better trades later on. But then that goes into what you had just discussed, where you're in the territory now, no longer just Lings and Banes, but instead Broodlords and possibly Ultras or other things. And by the way, there's a lot of Zerglings and a lot of Banelings. 170 Zerglings in play. Was that 40 something Banelings? 29 Banelings.
But this is how Bunny should play it. You know, like, yeah, the upgrades are really a good point. They are substantially behind, but Solar took advantage of what he saw as an open opportunity, and he was right to do so. But this is still a very tricky army to clean up, even with all the advantages in the world. I shouldn't have said that. All the advantages, except for creep spread. Like, if creep spread is there, if Bunny moves on a creep, then Solar wraps around him and kills him. Blinding Cloud comes down and like GG. If creep spread isn't there and Bunny just like cleans it up and then says, okay, now come at me, that's where we see Zerg players trying those surrounds, try and get the Blinding Clouds down, and actually still fail at killing the army. Unless that the Broodlords is the one thing that really changes these up, because tanks can do anything about the Broodlords. Here comes the army. We're going to actually test this theory right now. It's going to be slightly off of creep. Blinding Clouds do come down, but there's a lot of splits already happening for Bunny. He's going to barely take the fight.
Yeah, if he can just take care of the last couple Banelings, he can collapse on this.
But it wasn't as amazing, I think, as Bunny has wanted, but he is going to try and take advantage of the momentum here. The upgrades are currently even for another like 30, 40 seconds. I don't know really if he should be going this deep on a creep, though. He doesn't know exactly how many Banelings are left over.
I kind of like that he did, though. Like, obviously, it would have been better if he had scanned ahead, but I think you recognize that, like, Solar had exhausted his forces. If he was making new Banelings, it would take a lot of time. So, trying to take advantage of that, I think, is why he stepped forward. But coming back now, it was an appropriate time. In response to possibly more Banelings being out. Either way, another swarm off of creep, but Solar's got a lot more units than Bunny this time around. Solar's also about a 3-3 kick in any second now, so things get even tougher for Bunny, as he'll be once again at an upgrade deficit. Something he had been able to bridge for that last fight, but now it's 3-3 for the Lings and the Banes. And there's just nothing to stop this. GG.
My cat decided to climb all over me in the last 30 seconds.
Oh.
Yeah, it's cute, but also annoying. Yeah, Bunny did what I think he was supposed to do, but I wonder if his tank count, I mean, it got Blinding Clouded, but that is expected. It just didn't seem like it was that high. He never went to second factory. And I guess he did kind of technically start off on that creep, but it's one of those things where the theory crafting I was explaining is all true, but Bunny didn't take a good enough fight. Solar's economy and, upgrades and all that just still absolutely powered through.
Buddy messaged me for some reason. Acid Plant, by the way. We did get some bits, though, by the way. Thank you very much for that. BSK, my man. Black Spade Kamui. 1,000 PogChamps. Love everything you guys do for StarCraft 2. Thank you very much, man. Dude, I had a real epiphany last night, Zombie Grub.
Did you know?
Yeah, this whole time I thought we were casting StarCraft also.
Oh, I saw. Jesus, I saw that.
Also, hey, while that game was going on, we also missed out on Mike29 coming with a brand new Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much, sir. Hinjima also renewed for 33 months. So StarCraft 2 for life. Thank you for being crazy for 33 months and sticking with the channel. Also, a lot of debate. I know it's like memes about what BTTV stands for. I did like Best Terran Trade TV. No, someone said Biased Terran Trade TV, excuse me. That was a pretty good one.
Yeah. It is good, but that's literally all that guy's been saying. So I'm like, are you okay? Are you broken? Are you on repeat?
It's interesting. A guy got really upset at Wardy for making a sarcastic comment during his cast. I'm assuming you saw this tweet, Shane.
I did, yes.
Just people are really upset about racial bias, I guess, lately. I don't know. We'll talk more on this topic in a moment. Looks like players are ready, though. So let's hop into Acid Plant. We'll see you guys for game 2. All right, right, welcome back. We're getting into game number 2. Spawning on the lower right side of the map, we have the red Terran player. He's looking for his comeback. It's Bunny.
In the top left, reading that last game pretty perfectly, it is the Blue Zerg Infinity Gaming's Solar.
Yeah, something Solar did that game that I really enjoyed, but also didn't at the same time, was the low gas count. I really thought that extractor killed was going to devastate him more than it did, but it also really reflected like him being, perhaps you could borderline say greedy on this, by going for all of that gas-based economy, like banelings, double upgrades off of one gas. That really was a risk that got him ahead. I mean, we saw the echoes of that at the end of the game, like 20 minutes later. The 3-3 upgrade lead comes entirely based off of that really fast double upgrade.
He certainly had them.
Sorry, go on. Oh boy, this is awkward. I was just gonna say, like, you could argue Bunny even should have like maybe pushed his upgrades faster, but I think Bunny did what a normal Terran would do. You'd have to really go abnormal to go faster.
I wasn't like paying 100% attention to the builds timings, but it was one of those things where either it was normal or it was a little pushed off, and both still wouldn't have beaten Solar. I think you're right about that. Solar did something that in that sense, I guess, was greedy, because a lot of that early game, I was talking about how I think Bunny wanted to catch a greedier Zerg. So the upgrades, in I guess a sense, were kind of like, okay, that's faster, that's more put into it than normal, but he still didn't quite do enough. And Solar was not, as I said, like up to 60 drones or something like that, only on 4 queens. Like, I don't know. He was perfectly set up for it. Perhaps Bunny has done that build follow-up more often than not, because I think I thought Bunny would at least surprise him, as he certainly surprised me. I saw the tanks come over and I was like, what?
Yeah.
But maybe Solar's used to it. Maybe he was expecting some type of different follow-up, but still like had the army regardless of what he thought it would be. I don't know, but that was kind of like a weird once-off thing. And now Bunny has an opportunity to play a more normal game, which it seems like he's doing. His factory's right near his barracks. Probably going to swap over for Hellions, probably. But we'll watch and see.
Okay, well, keep an eye on that. First off, thank you, Zeepsneeft, the Twitch Prime sub. But also, Mike29 says, I've watched this channel for 5 years. I just got a Twitch account this morning. You guys are the best. I'm actually a little curious on this, Mike29. If you fill me in on this one, man. Does this mean you were somebody who watched on YouTube and just happened to catch us live, or are you just like someone who lurks on Twitch for 5 years and just made an account? I have no judgment on either. I'm just a little curious which the case may have been.
Also, are you 29 years old, or were you born in 1929?
Oh, it's Mike29. Oh, it's James.
I mean, it's usually what you fall back to when you run out of.
What if it's 2 9-year-olds sharing an account? And they've been watching us since they were 4.
Oh, wow. Oh, geez. Oh, no. Cursed way too much.
Yep.
I was Hellions, by the way, so more of a normal build here.
Well, as Bunny wraps around north, he might grab a couple of drone kills, but there's not that much exposed if you were to go in. Luckily, there's not a lot of queens this way yet either, but they are spreading their creep and getting over here. And yeah, it's 2, 3, possibly. Tries to build the export crawler. Gets 1 drone saved.
Zergs usually aren't going to be making those anti-Hellion lings for another, well, basically now. It's 2 Hellions wouldn't do very much, even if they did run in. But 2 drones for trading on nothing. Finds the which was a given, but at least Solar got the scout before it died. Might have been a false scout, though. Hey.
Yeah. No. Sorry, just to explain to people who, again, I know we got some front pagers coming in, some casual StarCraft fans. What Solar last saw before he lost vision was the researching tech lab. Every indication this is cloaked banshees. So maybe throw in an extra spore crawler, maybe you react with a faster overseer, thus this faster layer. I'm not saying it was cause and effect, but it's one of those things where Solar misread because Bunny canceled the cloak, did not invest in banshees, and has now swapped over towards Stimpak. It's a clever move out of our Terran. Bunny's patrolling around with the Viking right now, just looking for overlords. It's going to clear the path up from the medevac. I like that. It's an escort.
Yeah, it's not usually you see like a direct escort like that, but it's happening. Hellions over to the left side to catch, maybe a drone that's going to a 4th base would be kind of a lucky lucky take, but more so about the Widowmine drop. Before Crawl even repositions, but it's so fast at it that it's okay.
Well, this gets shut down over here. The Widowmines, unfortunately, don't look like they're going to get amazing shots, despite his best efforts. And there was no greedy fourth to push into, sadly, for these poor Hellions. Bunny didn't risk a lot with this, but he did lose a fair amount with that Viking going down, although the Viking less important than the medevac. So keeping that alive with 3 Widowmines is pretty nice.
Sure, yeah. It's one of those things that Zerg players don't usually even have to think of as well. So whereas a Protoss might be constantly on guard against the follow-up Widowmine drop, the Zerg players are usually paying attention to Hellions or Loop Raiders or something else. Now, Solar, we mentioned the 4th base. It's certainly not greedy. I think eventually you will take it. But Acid Plant has been quite popular for Roach all-ins. Well, all-in's a strong word, but oh, look at that. You grabbed the drone. But it, very dedicated Roach push. And with 1-1, the amount of Roaches he's getting, he'll certainly squash any attack if Bunny wanted to do one, but it's unlikely he would until he has 1-1 and more tanks. And then he could either squash it or he could just bypass it. And Acid Plant, when you get down to it, when you break down those rocks, it's actually not that long of a map. And I would say usually it favors the Zerg if the Terran's one out of position with such an attack. So I'm a little scared. Bunny kind of has to recognize that that's the direction Solar is going, but I don't know if he's seen the Roach numbers yet. I don't think he has, because he wouldn't be doing this if he did.
Tanks are pretty good against Roaches. I don't know if they're that good against Roaches.
Right. The issue here is the number of units protecting the tanks.
Yeah. Corrosive Vials coming too. It's an easy removal. Tanks can't move. It really sucks for the Terran in this situation. He had another tank coming over ferried in that medevac, but that's a quick nope as he turns around. My concern is that Solar might be able to just push a counterattack now, and Bunny would have nothing to defend. No, he's desperately putting bunkers down.
Right. He realizes now what's going on, and I think if he, hindsight, he's always like, oh, of course, right? Like there's a later fourth base. I should have pushed in with a Reaper or something to see what his Roach count was. Like it all feels silly probably to Bunny right now, who's really feels almost desperately trying to get these weird tank timings in, because it's the second game he's done it. Even if it's a bit different of a tank time, it's kind of weird. And it's just not working. Like Solar is not playing a spectacularly greedy style. Definitely not this game. He goes for that 1-run Roach attack that I was talking about. I was right to be scared for Bunny. I think he just dies here.
Valiant attempt to go for drops. Turning this into I think he was hoping to be a base trade. Maybe if there's another tank on the high ground, this could be a different story, but no, there is not.
Yeah.
Also, it's probably the end of Bunny. He put up a good fight against Solar too, but I think what I was really impressed out of the series for Solar, well, actually, this might hold. It'll cost him all his workers, and I'm not saying he's got a good recovery, but that tank might barely hold this. GG. I think it was going to be a loss either way. I was just curious if that tank was going to be the miracle worker, but I think that Bunny did a lot of things not wrong. Solar just played a pretty perfect game in both game 1 and game 2, though. Like reading the situation, not misreading the cloak on the Banshee, like handling that as he should have. But I also want to put just a warning up on chat for this, right? Look, guys, I don't care about the girl part of this. I don't care about the casting part of this. What I do care about, though, is we are getting dangerously close to the territory of being really unnecessarily bashy, I guess. And the rules about no caster bashing on the channel aren't actually in place because of myself and Zombie Grub. Some people get annoyed at our chat rules, but one of the big chat rules we have is no caster bashing, because what a lot of people tend to do is come to this channel and complain about other casters who are friends of ours on other channels. And even though the topic at hand involves other people from other games, I think the rule still stands. I just don't want to encourage an environment where it's okay to say oh, I find this person annoying, or I don't like this caster, but let's draw the line there, right? Don't start going to they're shitty, they're bad. No one's doing this yet, but I've just seen this conversation happen too many times. So politely asking guys that if you are going to carry on this discussion, just be chill about it. That's all I can ask. But we're going to be moving into the round of 8. And there's a lot of good games up there, so we're going to go to commercials. When we get back, we'll see you with a little more StarCraft 2.
I'm walking down the road less traveled. It's harder when the sun is shining, 'cause the light's not there. I'm talking to my darkest shadow. This love is do or die, but they don't care. I don't know why I do this to myself. It's not right, but I can't love no one else, no one else. But I can't love no one else, no one else. But I can't love no one else, but I can't love no one else.
All right, we're back, folks, and we're getting into Solar versus Bunny. So we'll be following Solar off of his victory, or not Bunny, excuse me. Bunny just lost. Rest in peace, Bunny. Solar versus Cure. We're following Solar after his victory over Bunny. There you go. To fight against Cure in the round of 8. So another ZVT, and we'll see if Solar can play this one as perfectly as well. I thought he really nailed it on a lot of his calls, and if he can play like that again, I think he can beat Cure. But funny enough, he does in the past have a win record versus Cure in the first place. So by no means am I trying to make Solar out to be an underdog. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting round of 8 just because they do have a pretty storied history. In the meantime, thank you, Black Spade Camo. You're throwing in another 500 bits our way. So you have a good rest of your cast-based trade TV. I'm off to schools. Oh, dude, thank you for the bits. And have yourself a great day. I hope it didn't steal your lunch money. And then Abarco also came in for 11 months on that resub. Thank you, Abarco. Sorry I'm kind of falling behind and missing these guys, but trying to get back into the groove. It's been a couple days since I've had to cast.
Isn't that so weird?
It should be like riding a bicycle, but it's really not. It just really isn't. Oh, is that a kitty cat? Is that a whitewashed kitty cat? Hello, Apollo.
Just always there. I went to a baby shower on Sunday.
Ooh, did you have to clean it or what?
No, I hope not. But it was like my mom's best friend's daughter. But it was like, and they're awesome people. Like, you know, my mom's trying to make this my aunt. But oh my God, they had the worst idea, Rifkin. Okay. Like, I know you don't know what 55 degrees is in Fahrenheit, but it's kind of chilly.
Have you seen so?
It's 12.7 Celsius.
Ah, that's shorts weather.
Okay, yeah, but you all, I don't know about that.
you're also weird because you like the cold. Right? No, that's cold.
Yeah,
that's cold. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're an odd person out here, even with me not liking the cold. So me and my dad hate the colds. Like, and they had the baby shower on a rooftop bar at 55 degrees in late October, as if you were expecting it to be not 55 degrees. Like, I don't know why.
You know what? I have something to relate to that, but we'll go to game first. So see you guys on map for Blue Shift. All right, we're in for a brand new best of 3. This is now getting deep into that tournament, guys. We're the round of 8 for this week's Ollimoleague. Spawning in the bottom left, we have the Red Terran Cure. So the situation you had just brought up, by the way, immediately made me think back to when we did the tournament in Toronto, North by Northeast. And you're like, all right, you want to have a tournament outside when there is stormy weather on the horizon.
I know it's hot.
It was, dude, Toronto weather sucked. That was a horrible weekend. It was like warm rain. Ugh. But it just reminded that, like, baby shower outside in cold weather, you got all these electronic devices, esports event in the rain, like, just like, could have been better.
It's like, yeah, I don't know, it's questionable, I don't know.
I still don't know if people ever, like, I remember it was just last year, like, Soul and others were hounding me. I'm like, look, dude, I didn't run the tournament. I don't know. We just cast it. Like,
yeah, I don't know either. That really sucks. Anyways, I ended up just staying huddled in the corner. My dad had brought the blanket from the car, and just like we were all huddled up. Kind of sucked, but yeah, there's food there, so that helps.
Stay close for warmth.
Yeah. Anywho, so Solar had a really good TVZ, but Bunny was also doing some pretty odd things. It's like, and I see this like more often in not professional tournaments, honest, or it can look like a genius thing because you hit these odd timings. Your Zerg player assumes they're safe because they see like a third CC timing, right? The Banshee thing was kind of cool. That was a trick, but it was definitely more about the tank timings that he did in both games. But the problem with any type of tank push like that in any matchup, really, where you're trying to being greedy, is that you're still yourself on kind of a low number of units. So while tanks seem like the biggest baller in the world, when they're up against a leg and they're like, oh no, what do I do? They look when they just simply overwhelm you. Yeah. And that's what happens. So it, as I said, like it can look really stupid or it can look really intelligent, and Solar just totally read into it both times. I don't think Cure will do the same thing, and if he was planning to, well, I hope he watched Bunny's series. But I don't think he's gonna be the same type of player, although I
So it's not used map intros for the last couple of years. Actually, longer than that even. I'm just thinking all the way back to like really old school days. Anyways, point is, yes, we use map intros pretty regularly. Some people find it annoying and repetitive. Some people enjoy it. I think it's a really cool way to just not sit through a normal, boring load screen because that's all you're doing otherwise. I guess the end. Like,
go for Viking right into Banshees. Phased out for
this time around, we'll get to see how his Banshees look. Oh wait, I'm actually thinking of the series.
I was
Has
like,
nothing to do with this. I'm dumb. Yeah, sorry. Too much TVZ, man. Too early in the morning for me. 5:42 a.m. on the West Coast is my excuse.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is not Bunny, so forget everything I just said. Bad analysis. It is not.
No, it's not. Of course, Solar is set up for this. One of the Zerg players, especially. I think you got me. The fifth Banshee really got so much. The Spore Crawlers are the first tag any other people away. unless it's a for 1/1 again, though, with roaches, of course. The missile on the way. Nice little tag on the queen. That's something.
That actually like Snoot, who would have 9 queens conventionally, so we'll have like 4, maybe 5. So losing that queen sucks because it means less injects, but also means less aggressive creep spread. Which, okay, I recognize this is not Bunny, but in Bunny's series, Solar had pretty good map control, and that, of course, was a lot in part due to his creep. So not even going back to send a queen to inject the main base, he's just screwed. I don't need the larva. Puts those queens on the front line. A lot of energy for transfusions, but more importantly, a lot of energy for more creep.
Yeah. And to an like, this is not lane baneling. So to an extent, he doesn't even need all 3 hatcheries pumping. Although, he is on 3 hatcheries, not the quickest fourth base we've ever seen. But you don't really need a macro hatchery. So it works out fine. The Banshees are probably their best benefits now is that they're alive for helping with the roaches. It's possible that Solar gets the creep spread so far out that he also brings queens. But if he's going to go for that 1/1 roach attack, which I do believe he's doing again, the Banshees will just get free damage. Enough damage? Well, that's the question. But they will get some free if they don't sack themselves here.
Which I'm afraid they might do, because it's really tempting when you haven't realized it's roaches. Solar has very purposely circumvented all scouts. Goes on the southern side of the map with queens, roaches, ravagers, unique. Cure is not only ill-prepared, but out of position.
Yeah. I mean, those queens are off for creep, so they may have a little bit of difficulty. The Banshee should still get something done, but as long as they're guarding the Ravagers in particular, I think they're pretty okay. They actually were taking a couple shots in the tank, so there we go. Here we go. Here come the Roaches and Ravagers. And here is, I mean, he's actually, the Sim City, like this one supply depot makes an even better joke than usual. Yeah. The queens are mostly dead. Here come the Banshees, so the cleanup might still happen. Oh, that choke is just so beautiful with the tanks.
I'm actually really astonished that one depot did all this.
Right?
But with this hold, Cure ends up being in a not bad spot. I did lose 21 SCVs, right? Like, this isn't great for Cure. But he's in a not bad spot. He can mule up this difference, probably. He's kept a lot of this army intact, so it's not like a second follow-up will kill him. Like, kudos to Cure on the defense. It could have been better, but it also could have been a lot worse.
That's the best way to sum it up. Yeah. It could have been a bit better. Maybe even you temporarily evacuate the third base and wait for combat shields. Like, maybe that could have been better, but it also could have been a lot worse. Unfortunately, even though Cure keeps his head afloat, like he's actually on a decent economy, his army was reset, and most importantly, his tanks did end up dying. They put so much work in, but they ended up dying. And now, despite it was even been lowered or they're going to be killed, Solar still has the momentum in this game, but always remember that roaches tend to look worse and worse as the game goes on. Cure just needs to actually get that army back up and running, desperately trying to do so, but Medevac's even running out of juice a little bit here. No SCVs to pull this time.
This is rough. He just barely can't quite shave this off. I like this staying on the high ground. Unfortunately, though, Rangers should be able to see it and crucify it down fairly easily, which they do. Ouch.
Hey, it's still got 3 shots, I want to say, which the Roaches were once again kind of clumped up. Cure is very close to holding. If he had one more tank in this engagement or 10, 11 more Marines, like this, that could have all been the difference makers, and he might still be able to push through. Remember, when Solar's Roaches go down, he starts to lose those expensive Ravagers. He starts to lose the Queens that can come over with transfuses. This should be the last few Queens we see offensively. But it's a tough hole. It's still, and there's also a potential for a macro game after this for Solar, even though he'll be behind in upgrades.
This tank is doing work, but once again gets picked off by this corrosive vials. These queens are out of juice, so not a lot of transfuses left at this point. I do feel though that Cure might win the battle. I still don't know if he can win the war. And that supply out of Solar, granted it's inflated because it's roaches, it still hasn't really dipped below 70, despite all of this fighting. It's
tough though, because he's almost guaranteed. Now might be a time where he can evacuate. But no, it's not. So like he will lose his Ravagers until 100% when he doesn't attack like this. And those are the things that are going to keep you in the game. Of course, vials aren't affected by upgrades. They can buy time on ramps. So losing those is like another macro potential gone. But the back and forth continues as Cure goes a little bit too far forward. He's constantly producing medevacs when he can, but he also has to fit in gas for tanks and marauders and just minerals, of course, right? That's actually still his main problem. And they are running out of juice, so that's always something to consider. Finally stops. Solar did start +2 weapons, but Cure 40 SCV is not terrible. Mules very, very good. Upgraded bio, very good. I kind of want to say this is a game that can still go either way. Like, I don't know. Solar's army supply is going to be insane. We'll see if he can hold against it.
You know, at the end of the day, if Kure was just feeding his army fight milk, this might look a little different.
I don't know what that means. But...
Oh, that's right. You don't watch Always Sunny.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Well, never you mind that one. Then bad reference on my part. But the Marauders, the tanks, like the 2-2 for the Terran. There's a lot of things that make this look doable for Kure, despite the numbers being smaller. But I don't know. I feel like he's also just one bad engagement away from losing everything. Like the mule drop, the crazy mule drop is the only reason he's keeping on par with Solar for income right now. Those are going to expire. He's going to fall behind again.
Yeah. This is 2-2 bio against, at half the army supply with only 2 tanks helping out, not only 1 tank. It seems like it's just not going to be enough, but it could have been really close. A couple of these tanks survive, a couple more fights, 10 more Marauders. I don't think Kure's going to win this fight, and he's still sticking around.
No, this might have been the breaking point, if not definitely.
Yeah, GG. Oh, boy.
Well, that's a good game out of Solar. I like this, again, because like him and Kure have a bit of a history going up against each other, but more so because Solar just looks like he's really on point today. I don't know, maybe he had his coffee or whatever. It's not morning for him, it's evening, but the point is, he's reading these situations well. I feel like he's reacting to these situations well. And even right there at the very end, while I didn't get a chance to really dissect it, like he chose to, rather than go up through the army and have it funnel in from the south, to wrap all the way around from the north, have a much better engagement area. Like he's thinking about all of these things while he's playing the game. And it's wonderful to watch.
It is. That was a really fun game. That came down to, sheer force of will with Solar continuing to attack and Kure overstepping every now and again. It's kind of funny, though, to see 2 Terrans. Always so funny, but like both Terrans kind of getting surprised by a 1-1 roach push. Just like neither one of them getting great eyes on what the army is. Like not even seeing that it's roaches until pretty late. And then beyond that, not seeing how many roaches. I feel like Solar, and I don't want to say he's getting lucky with these pushes, the 1-1 roaches, but he's finding them to be super effective. And I wonder if we'll do it again here on Fracture.
I mean, it's fair to say you can get a little bit lucky here and there, but it's not like he's relying on luck to win.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot to let everyone on Discord know live. Whoopsies.
Whoopsie.
Well, everyone's asleep right now, so they usually don't get the messages, but there we go. At any rate, guys, girls, we're getting into game number 2. It's Fracture, as it is loser's pick in this situation. We can bring it back, or if he'll fall down and be another just corpse in Solar's way. That was a really awkward sentence.
A little bit, and also it almost timed out perfectly with the map starting, and then it didn't.
That's what I was trying
You're
to
like drawing it out.
Right, I was trying to.
As possible. Maybe it'll start now.
There we go. Perfect timing, Zombie Grub. All right, let's hop into Fracture. First try. All right, folks, we're hopping into game number 2 this time around to get my head screwed on straight about it. Before we get into the intros, a quick note. On the top half of the bracket, we've had both Innovation and Alive make it to the semifinals. We will likely be casting that next. The winner of this will move on to fight against Trap, who did take a 2-0 over Ragnarok. So, what is possibly a very diverse semifinals. And what looks to be at this rate, not a guaranteed TBT, unless he can bring it back. He's down 1 on his last life. In the upper left, we have Kure.
In the bottom right is the Red Zerg from Infinity Gaming. It is Solar.
So shout out to Eric Arcana. He's got a brilliant idea. I'll pursue that sponsorship immediately. But yeah, Kure, man. I know him to be such a good Terran player. He just seems to have a weakness for Solar.
You make it sound like a love story.
Maybe it is. Maybe he lets him win.
He can't control himself. He has a weakness. Yeah, it's there are definitely those situations where you can look at two players' performances against top notchers and be like, well, theoretically, and not that this is actually the case, but theoretically, Kier could be beating Maru, Zest, whatever, and Solar isn't. You'll be like, well, Kier should win, right? But really, like there's a mix up of styles or just mental games going on as well, or just certainly a bit of luck can happen.
Would you do me a favor, dear co-castress? Would you look up their Legulac and see exactly what they're... Because they've got a pretty weird time back and forth, but then Solar took a pretty hard lead in terms of who was winning series between them. And I think last I saw, he was up like 4 best-of-3s over Cure. I'm not sure what that is exactly right now, but like there's some actual stats to back up what we're saying. We're not just talking out our ass for this one, guys. Like Cure, great player. For some reason, there's just like a problem with Solar. This isn't the only time we've ever seen this too. There's players out there too, like Neeb. So many Koreans, and then like can't beat Scarlet.
Yeah, it's a back and forth between those two. So Cure recently lost against Solar, but then won against him twice, and lost against him, lost against him, lost against him, won against him, won. I mean, it's actually kind of back and forth.
Yeah, well, that's what I say. It was back and forth, and then there's just like a win streak for Solar for a small bit, like you just listed out. So
yeah, I guess that was the time I listed out. So not the most recent time. I say like if Cure had maybe not overextended 1 or 2 more times, he would have had more medevac energy. He would have had 5 more Marauders. He would have had 1 extra tank. If he had known about the push from the get-go, probably the most important thing, he would not have lost as many SCVs, which would have contributed and snowballed. It's one of those types of armies that really, if Cure is able to settle at 50 SCVs for a minute with mules being dropped, his army does just get better. And Solar is just purely depending on the numbers, because Riches and Ravages end up sucking after a while. It can easily tip over the other way. But Solar goes for a very fast overload speed this game, so I guess expecting Kier to do something a little wonky. Maybe kind of remembering that game versus Bunny on the same map and being like, well, I want to make sure it's not some weird follow-up.
yeah, it's not often you actually see fast overload speed pumped out, but I like it in terms of scouting.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate of this, even before they changed it to be cheap and super easy to get like it is nowadays. But wall, not quite up, but not necessary if you can cut the Hellions off early enough. A little bit of poke damage goes a long way.
Bit dangerous to do this if you don't have Lings, but he is building them now. An assumption that a Banshee's going to be on the way, it seems like. I mean, we saw that it was a starport without a tech lab, but it could be swapped over, and Squirt Claws can be helpful against the Liberators anyways.
So a little bit of a non-game topic that's interesting here. Dad Rock Radio asks in chat, saying when people say foreigner players, they mean anyone not Korean, right? And this is a phrase that has been so ingrained in the StarCraft 2 community. It took me 2 years to get comfortably using it, but it makes sense once you do and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't until recently, as I've been watching the development of Worlds and the crazy hype that there's for League of Legends right now, that I realized just how StarCraft-centric that phrase is. Like, people get, oh my god, we have an NA or EU team in the finals. I'm like, why don't they just say foreigners? Like, what? Like...
Yeah, it's very StarCraft specific. I think initially League of Legends might have also had the same thing. No, actually no, because I don't remember League of Legends history. I don't remember when Korean started to dominate it.
I don't want to I'm not just an elitist. Like, oh my god, it's great that we have this phrase, or StarCraft only has this phrase. It's just, it really is such a normal thing to say. It's like all these people, these Twitch streamers you see out there, right? They say poggers, monka as, like as part of their speech. Like, oh my god, that's the poggers. At some point, they're going to be in a conversation with a real person and say that and have that moment of embarrassment going like, oh, right, that's not an everybody thing. And I feel like that's how I am with foreigners. Like, when we're casting StarCraft 2 and talking about foreigners, it makes sense. But any other way to do it, I just sound kind of racist.
Well, yeah. I think when we say, like, the Koreans or something like that, I always feel like a little weird talking to, like, non-esports people. But anyways, I like it. I like having certain vernacular that is something that people have to be like, wait, what are they talking about? But I know a lot of people who don't like it, who are like, we should just say non-Koreans to be as clear as possible. And I see both sides. This game has been going on for a little while. The Squirt Crawlers help the Liberators perfect positioning for them. And this game is going on in a macro game. So Kier probably going to do what Bunny did, but then hopefully a little bit better. So I'm talking maybe a couple more tanks. There's definitely a little tank out for Bunny, and then also maybe a little farther off of creep.
I think it'd be really BM. I'm like, what, lose? That's rude.
I mean, you might. I think again, like this map is kind of shifted from being like, oh, they're clearly going to like rally push me, right, to being more of a, well, they're going to wait a while and then push me.
Well, speaking back to the Bunny games, we are seeing that upgrade deficit again, which I think for a time wasn't super common. I would say nowadays I do feel it's a little less normal. Either way, Solar's going to be on a very nice 2-2 at some point while Kier's stuck on 1-1. And of course, we saw how that translated with Bunny, and it doesn't matter that's a different player. The upgrade dynamic is still there in the game, and it is particularly effective when it comes to these Ling type engagements.
Well,
that was rude. They're killing his own Marine.
I didn't even notice. Solar's only job right now is to make sure his crease rate is not cleaned up or instantly replaced. Cure's job is to try and get maxed out. The upgrades will certainly play a part, but I think even that engagement that did end up killing Bunny really was while they were even. So they'll never play so much. It looks like Liberators did finally find the Scorpios out of position. So 10 drones, not too shabby there.
No, that's a good amount of damage to Solar, but he does bounce back from this pretty easily. Still on 70-something workers. So not going to hurt him that much. 10 workers early on, devastating. 10 workers when you already got 80, it's like, all right. That happened, I guess. But quick peek at the income graph, and actually, I'm surprised. I thought this was going to be a lot more Solar heavy, but I guess between mule drops and Cure's own third base, he's actually been holding up on income, which is very surprising to me.
Well, it's only one part of the story. Solar is not really taking a lot of creep spread damage. And his fifth base was denied. It is his fifth base.
Yeah. Despite having the army supply lead, though, I think for Solar, he's not too worried about this because he's got A, Banelings with B upgrades, and he knows it. It's not going to have that 3-3 lead like he did versus Bunny, but he still has this 2-2 for a small period of time.
I think Cure has more tanks than Bunny. I mean, he should, right? Because he didn't lose two from the get-go. So even though he's working off only one factory, he's coming with this push that will get maxed out as it pushes with 7 tanks. 6, actually. I think he got someone home.
7.
Yeah, we're going home. Yeah. But he goes a little bit deeper than I would expect on creep. The Solar is not maxed out either. He doesn't have the Vipers ready to go either. So this seems like a little bold. It is okay, and he clears up creep spread maybe a little bit faster, although with so much, he needs at least 3 scans, 1 for each direction.
It's a man who exudes confidence.
This is so dangerous, because even the tanks on creep, they just, I don't know, man. It seems a little dangerous, but Solar's not ready, so I'll see what it looks like when the engagement goes down. The top side of the creep spread, by the way, the right side is just not being cleaned up at all. Oh, finally, there we go. Here it goes.
Clouds grabs 2 of the tanks. Banelings crashing through. We saw this before too. It was off of creep, so Zerg at a disadvantage. Most of this fight happened on creep, so Solar had very little issue connecting to most of that army. But while the supply still favors Cure, we do have a swap up here, and that's because Solar's gone for Ultralisks, which I'm not sure I'm a fan of right now because there's no chitinous plating in sight and no chitinous plating in play.
Right. I even with chitinous plating, I'm not sure it's a great idea, as his army ends up taking the worst trade there. There was enough tanks, there's enough bio off of creep. There might not be enough support even for fully upgraded Ultras, as the Marauder count has grown quite large. But Solar once again wrapping in for the surround, partially off creep and then partially on creep. Not too bad, but the Viper was not there. Maybe go for an abduct. Actually, a parasitic bomb, but on a very easily microed medevac.
So here's where I do like the Ultras. I don't like them in this engagement, right? Marauders and Marines kite them around all day. I do like them for soaking tank damage, and ideally, the Banelings and Zerglings live. But unfortunately, with that Ultralisk going down, there doesn't seem to be much hope for Solar. He is just bleeding out at this point. Anything that gets made is getting killed. It's dead on arrival. And with such a supply deficit now, oh my god, not an overall supply, but an army. Look at the army numbers right now, guys. This is looking really bad for Solar.
Yeah. This is looking like Cure's game. Yeah, he was able to do what Bunny didn't, which was take a very efficient engagement and then have so much left over. I guess very efficient is kind of not true, but he had so much left over that he was able to keep up momentum, whereas Bunny was completely just forced back and then was quickly countered as Solar just overwhelmed him. Not this time. Very funny sport crawler. How?
Yeah, I'm not sure when that got to the front line the way it did. Valiant effort, little guy. But GG's Cure will tie the series up 1-1. And with that, folks, I'm just going to cut the jibber jabber. We're going to go straight to a commercial break. When we get back, it'll be game 3 to see who wins the round of 8.
Look at the sky, the sun won't ask for one if it can rise. Look at your mind and ask yourself what keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lies that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky, the sun won't ask, the sun won't ask the world if it can
All right, it's been tied up 1-1. It turns out Terran can win something today. Spotting in the lower right, though, it is the Red Zerg Solar on, is that Infinity Gaming?
Yes. In the top left, as the blue Terran for Janair, it is Cure.
Well, Cure had quite a very different feeling game 2 from game 1. I don't know how to describe it. Like, game 1 definitely was all about Solar having the power and the control. Game 2, complete role reversal. Like, as soon as he got going, he really got going. And I tried to highlight this a little bit, but time wasn't really of the essence for me in this case. But the army graphs for both players were just steadily rising at a similar pace. And once Cure took the lead, he never lost it. Yeah. None of those trades went well for Solar.
It all does go down to that one big engagement on a map like that, where it's, obviously it can happen on any map in this matchup. If you both wait till you're maxed out, the Zerg player is trying to get those ultras, you're going to have one big engagement. That can happen. That can go favorably for one person or another, but the game continues on a map like Parasite, for instance. But on Fracture, it's like whoever wins that fight is usually the one that wins. We saw it versus Bunny, where, quickly after that, Solar remaxed faster and then steamrolled him. And then we saw it with Cure, who had so much left over, they just continued pushing in and feel free to rally push on a map that small because, what are they going to do about it? Even if they tried countering or run buying, rather, it's not that hard to go back and respond. So But you go to Parasite, which just makes total sense for Solar to pick. It's a limited map pool, generally kind of considered a Zerg favorite map, and complete opposite of Fracture.
Yeah, Fracture's always a bit of a funky map. The size of it affecting like the walk distance of reinforcements and many other things, the higher chance you get proxied on it. It is a very different map to play on. But I guess we should recall that was Kura's pick. So he came into that map with confidence, knowing which map that he was playing on. This third and final one is, of course, Solar's pick. So maybe a little bit of an edge to Solar in that regard. Either way, folks, like I said, if you are just joining us, whether it's coming from the front page or you're a regular StarCraft 2 fan in the first place, we are, of course, going to be casting 2 more best of 3s and 1 more best of 5. We have both of the semifinals and the grand finals still coming up after this game. And I hope that if you are coming from the front page, you'll consider hitting that follow button, or at least joining us here in chat, because I don't know how long we have front page for today, but it's nice that we got some new friends. Also, rest in peace to that poor Reaper. Got a little bit greedy. Wanted that tumor really bad.
Yeah. A little scary. He didn't see the third base.
Didn't see the rain.
Yeah, he didn't see anything really. All important things have not been seen, but luckily for him, there's nothing on the way.
I wonder how much he goes into this blind expecting roaches too. We saw different strategies from Solar out of game 2 than we saw in game 1, but I think typically he's been a pretty heavy roach player recently. And I wonder if Cure plays around that notion, or if that's something he does wait to scout for. Because in this case, he didn't get to scout for it at all.
It's very possible that Solar chooses this map to also not go for roaches. I mean, what do we see him do it on? Acid Plant and Cerulean? Fracture feels like it's... I don't know, in some ways it's good that it's small, in some ways it's not good. Anyways, but like Parasite is the longest map we have. I prefer Solar to not go for roaches, but he could. These Hellions would be scouting it if there's anything to scout, but they're actually just going for the drones.
Oh, and funny enough too, the Queens are out of position, so if you leave the doors open, this could have been much worse with a luckier shot. Because don't know how this works. It's really annoying trying to shoot drones on a mineral line. Your angle of attack matters, but 5 workers go down. Queens are brought off creep, but as you said, to highlight again, Kira has not seen the third. He might assume because of the creep down here, but he's not seen the main either. And there's got to be so many question marks raised at this point. Like, what is my opponent doing?
Well, Solar got some good scouting. So once again, Spore Crawlers in perfect positions to take on Liberators, unless Kira's really microing them. Just a little bit of that map presence and harassment. He remakes the Hellions he lost, even though his intention is going to bio. Just make sure no Ling run by or follow up catches him off guard. Now, to use these Hellions to once again go for drone kills, I think is a bit risky. He might get the drone kills, and that'd be fantastic. But then you force them to make 40 Lings. Suddenly they're on your side of the map, stopping you from getting a third CC down location. So I don't, and that was only 4 drones. So that, that's 8 Hellions for 9 drones. Well, a distraction, I guess, for Liberator.
Even then, still a little bit costly, to say the least. I don't know if the risk factor is worth it, but he got an Overlord on top of this. Actually, supply block Solar, who does not have an Overlord on the way. So, hey, that actually ends up hurting a little bit.
Yeah. He does immediately send his Lings across the map. If you're a Zerg player and you ever take care of those Hellions like that, there's almost no reason not to send your Lings across the map. You either find a 3CC building and you can get enough surface area on it to cancel it, which is fantastic. Or in this case, you get to see that it's done, and you could even send your Lings to the whatever 30 ends up taking and try and deny it for a little while, because Cure doesn't have any Hellions, doesn't have a lot of Marines quite yet, still waiting on that. But he's getting close to it, so all this harassment, keeping tabs on his opponent, getting some decent damage, all things combined, is actually quite good. And he is going to follow this up potentially with those medevacs. Now, this is interesting. As he scans the natural, very paranoid of a Baneling bust, I suppose. He's getting bunkers. Maybe afraid maybe Roach could be on the way, but it's not happening.
Luckily, this isn't too costly of an endeavor for him to do right now. And he could always salvage it too, but I just got to give a quick comment to the Liberator. That thing killed a Queen and a couple drones, but also a lot of the larva from this base. Like, between this, the supply block earlier, Queen's being focused on spread, not injects. Like, Solar's not hurting for larva or money yet, but if this keeps up, he will be eventually.
Yeah. it's one of those, like, if it was any one of these attacks, I don't think it's really that bad, but all things combined, plus whatever distraction it would cause for Solar, it's pretty good. The drop, it comes in here, and if Solar had his army across the map, he would be in a 9 at third base temporarily, but then he might not have anything to defend this, so his army's all the way back here, and Kira does end up getting his sort of on location, kind of no problem. Macro looks good, upgrades quite close. Hopefully he starts his 2-2 immediately, as does Solar. And I think the one thing you can really comment on is that Kira is not going for the creep spread, which is slowly encompassing the map, and that should be the kind of the next target for these drops. As he also sends a push down the left side.
Well, this kind of goes back to Fracture being a bit deceptive too, right? Like, the amount of creep spread Solar has right now doesn't look that great on Parasite, but it was amazing on Fracture.
Yeah. But then, like, 1 or 2 scans, and if we could, looks like not amazing again. So.
Yeah. So he's going to push this, by the way, and here we go, clear up some of that creep.
Widow Mines, by the way, like, that scan did confirm that there were no roaches. He hasn't seen any roaches defend either, so it's like, okay, sure, that's fine. We don't have hydras, but that's not something that Cure would know or not know at this point. That is just, we've been seeing some Terrans play around with Widow Mines again, either for more of these type of pushes, or just they actually like them in Supreme late game scenarios.
It does tend to be a bit of a gamble. Like, a tank shooting more than one shot is pretty much guaranteed to be more damage than a Widow Mine. But the tank needs to kill the Banelings, or the Widow Mine needs to kill the Banelings. And if the Widow Mines get that lucky shot, then they are so very well worth it. Much cheaper, much more maneuverable than the tank, and less costly to lose as well. But nice cancel there out of Solar. I'm not going to lose the base, but Drone goes to replace this immediately after.
Because he's going for Widow Mines, it makes sense for him to get the plating to help the Widow Mines and even the Medivacs. Now, he hasn't seen any secondary tech or tertiary, whatever. Like, Ling Baneling is all it, right? No Hydras, no Ravagers. I guess you can kind of count that. So he's probably figuring out the Hive is on the way. A bit greedy of a play for Solar, for sure, not to get a Ling, Baneling, Hydra army first, or even Mutas on this map can do pretty well. But he is kind of backed up with that greed with all this creep spread. This right side got really out of control, so even though Cure quickly cleans up about half of it, he still has a few more to go before he can really pressure that base.
You know how Nice Username has this How It Looks, How It Feels series?
Yes, I do.
I was just thinking for, like, a lot of these pros regarding, like, trying to guess hive time. It's like how it looks. Oh, well, so 9 minutes in the game, he's not provided a lot of pressure. There's a good chance he's just gassing, getting a hive. Ooh, big Baneling surround. I was not expecting Cure to just stand in place for that.
He was busy with the run by. Didn't end up doing anything.
Oh, God, that's really unfortunate. Bottom side almost gets cleaned up too, picks up the Medivacs, but okay, that really hurts for Cure. It doesn't kill him, but that was a big amount of army gone. Not a trade he wanted to get out of that.
Well, it's almost so bad that I think he does just have to kind of. He already had a 4th CC, so it's, not terrible. But he just says, "Oh, okay, I guess. All right then, that's fine."
Take a risk.
And he gets his 4th base up and running. He goes in kind of more the late game. It's that bad of a momentum stopper.
Yeah. I guess finishing my joke.
Yeah.
So yeah. So, like, how it looks, like, they'd be all professional, like, guessing the timings, but, like, how it feels is like Zerk's a nice fucking race. I bet they're on hive already. They probably had hive 5 minutes ago. Zerk's so fucking good. Like,
yeah, that's absolutely what it feels like.
I do like that he's putting Marauders out the front line. These will not be wiped away by building so easily as his last army sadly was. But he's done a good job controlling that creep. It's unfortunately not been amazing because of the cost of that army, but up until then, he was doing a good job, and even now, I like that he's keeping at it, because the last thing he wants to do is take another engagement with Solar on creep at any point.
Solar has a lot of these run-bys set up. It's a lot of Lings. Yeah, even though the Widow Mine is nice, it's still a ton of Lings. So retreat back into a nice Sin City. There you go. But this is something that Cure really, what's he going to do to punish something like this? Well, I guess he's going to try and catch the Lings on the retreat. But he tries to push in, thinking that there's like 30 armies flying that around. There's still creep spread. Still got to clean that up. So you even get this base. Well, Zerg's getting to that point where they may even have another base off to the left side. So it's not exactly free. I don't want to paint it such a biased picture, but it's a really nice thing to set up for Solar. Even a distraction, even if all Lings die, a distraction if Secure tries to push on a creep is pretty gold. in this game. So the scans even try and search for this. They want to see if they're taking the banelings. They want to see if they're around. He misses the banelings. A little awkward.
Yeah, I feel like Solar very intentionally just ran the lings over to like, hey, look at me in the scan. I was hoping to catch him off guard with the banelings, but Kier's not caught off guard with the banelings.
Yeah, that's the distraction. So Solar might lose all that run by, but he cleans up the army to the right side with a just massive surround.
You know, though, check the resources lost. Solar just lost a lot of banelings to a couple Widow Mines in that engagement, and it's starting to really show through. For Cure, he's actually really far ahead. It's 227 Zerglings have died this game.
Yeah, that was ultimately better for Kira as he just immediately picked up. He was paying attention that time, unlike the last awkward fight. But it is another momentum stopper. It is the thing where like Solar is able to replace that army, as well as, I want to say he wants a Greater Spire, but he's actually not starting the Greater Spire. That is the most worrying thing for Solar, is that while he's doing all these great things with the still like hatchery almost based tech he has, he's not advancing tech, and he really needs to.
That's not a wall, by the way. Both players just discovered that.
You're in a wall. No, that's a good point. I can't believe Cure is going on to +3 vehicle plating, by the way. Usually we see like maybe +2 and then on a ship weapons, if nothing else. But
I'm a really big fan of this for the air support more than the Widow Mines or anything like that. I don't think we'll even see Liberators be that big of a factor, but just like being able to soak an extra hit on the medevac can go a long way.
Yeah.
But it will also additionally benefit the Liberators too.
It's more just, I think it is, like, it's not a bad thing, not at all. It's more like you also have to afford the engineering bay upgrades and usually just kind of forget about your armory upgrades for a little while. Yeah, it's good. So back to the, got to reiterate my point because you still don't have a Greater Spire on the way. Solar might be controlling the map and doing what he can to stop that gigantic Terran army from killing him, as he's still working just mostly on Lang Baneling here, but he's also not getting that, I feel like, a backup plan, which is Broodlords, as he chose the Spire over the Ultra's Cavern. And with the amount of that he's banking, I thought that would have just been the case, the Greater Spire, if not both.
I'm sorry, he just busted lower supply depots in a wall that wasn't even a wall. There's just too much that was funny about that for me.
Look, man, supply blocks here, and he needs reinforcements.
Ooh, the Bailey's off the creep. Gonna walk into a wall of Marauders, so the Marines just walk back. And of course, Marines can survive now that the Bailings are gone. Solar disengages. A very weird turn of events on both sides for the engagement here. And I wasn't quite sure if Cure was caught off guard and would be distracted once again. But ultimately, Solar, I think, takes the worst trade. And the resources lost is really highlighting just how expensive these battles have been.
So Solar finally starts that Greater Spire, but as you can see, he did grab a couple of Corruptors to help deal with at least the medevac count. It's something to help out here, but they cannot help out with that natural crowned army.
Oh, that oversteamed army needs to not be clumped up. We're at the point where even the Marauders are almost getting one shot by the Banelings, but not enough Banelings left to crash through this. A lot of the supply now in Corruptors for the sky, not going to be helping out with the Marines. And while there is an attack here on the left side, I mean, this is not much.
It's 3-3, so it has to be taken very seriously, but this time Cure's not supply blocked, and hopefully his reinforcements can deal with it. As he takes down this base, Solar is on another base to the left side, so it's he's still got a bit of a bank as well. But I feel like his insistence to stay on Ling Baneling might have killed him. The Broodlords are not going to be that plentiful, what the bank currently has, which is actually none now. And we do have some ghosts on the way as well, so they're not even going to be like easy peasy insta win. But this is on creep, but Kier didn't really want to do here.
It not only is on creep, Solar sacrificed Overseers to soak every single Widow Mine shot there. That's the drawback to Widow Mines, right? They've been getting great hits on the Banelings, and they look like a crazy good unit, but then you also have moments like this where they're absolutely wasted going off on Overseers and Corruptors.
Yeah, that was a good engagement for Solar for sure. Still has some live creep timbers as well, active ones to spread back that creep. If he wants to, he could potentially give up this right side. No, he's never taken. Okay, so he's definitely want to respread that. The Cure might say, oh, that side's done. Am I trying to focus on the left side now? Which, I mean, regardless, he is forced to take a chill pill. That's the time for Solar to get those 6 Broodlords. But we have the Ghost. We have a solid army supply for Cure. He could be offensive with this army and still perhaps take a decent fight.
It's like, I believe all white people should be out of Korea. Here's my army.
Well, there are some, I guess, older Koreans, I think that.
Yeah, actually, I got to meet a couple of them who were over there too, which is great. But one thing I want to highlight, is going to the army size. Solar took a small lead like almost 10 minutes ago, but then Simpsons never recovered. And the Army has always been favoring Cure. And yes, this is highlighted through everything we've seen, but I just really want to drive home the fact that Cure has not gotten lucky with an engagement. Like every fight -1 this game has gone Cure's way.
Basically, yeah. But it's not just like pure numbers, of course, for a Zerg player versus Terran. It's the momentum that was stopped, or the amount of bank he was able to accrue during it, and it was fair enough. I still feel like Solar was playing a dangerous game, but I eventually did get those Brood Lords, and now it's still like one of those. Well, both playing dangerous games here, both really relying on good positioning and control. There doesn't seem to be a defensive Terran, and Solar just tries to break them like what we do see a lot on this map. So at a certain point, the Terran just says, oh, I guess I can't break the Zerg. I hope they run into me and throw their army away. We haven't seen that yet. So we'll have to see what an aggressive army like this looks like, and usually it's not great. I gotta be honest.
Oh no,
Brood Lords just literally walk into the army, so that's pretty good.
Every single one of them goes down. That's devastating. The Corruptors eat Widow Mines too, so now they're too low to fight. Even the Liberators can kill these Corruptors in this situation. Oh, that was Solar's like ace in the hole, and it gets absolutely demolished.
He does try to collide on this army on 3, but it's a very chunky army. You got Ghost, Banelings, Liberators, GG.
Whoa. Sure turns this series around, and he takes the 2-1 to bring it home.
Ouchie.
Now, this does mean we have a lot of Terran in the semifinals, guys. It's going to be Cure versus Trap in a TVP here on the south side of the bracket. And on the top side, we have Innovation versus Alive. I believe we're doing Innovation and Alive first because they've been waiting longer, but we'll find out in a moment. Either way, we got about 4,000 people tuning in at the time of me reading this. I know that fluctuates because it is front page time, but it's still cool to see a lot of people tuning in for some StarCraft 2. So good morning and hello, and thank you for joining us today. I guess I said it earlier, and I'll emphasize again, if you are coming in from that front page, though, and heck, maybe you've been enjoying the show, either way, what you should expect is just a couple of people who enjoy StarCraft 2 watching it with a lot of other people who also enjoy StarCraft 2. That being said, chat's been, for the most part, pretty good today. A lot of the time we get in the front page tends to be a little rambunctious. This isn't like a challenge or an invite. I'm just saying objectively it's cool. We haven't had to do a lot of modding this morning, so keep it up, guys. But yeah, we'll be casting both of these semifinals out. I guess we'll take a small break because that was kind of a long game. And when we get back, it'll be the first semifinal match. So thank you for watching the Ollimoleague here on Base Trade TV. right, folks. Thank you kindly for watching those commercials. They do pay our way to do more StarCraft content. As this tournament is not sponsored or anything like that, it's just us showing up to cast some Korean StarCraft bright and early in the morning in the hopes of maybe a couple of bits or a couple of bucks through ads. So thank you all for watching. We are at... Nobody's allowed to sub today, by the way. We are currently at 1,337 sub points. However, if that number falls, I will absolutely have to start begging for subs. Either way, guys, thank you everybody for watching. But the players are ready. It is Innovation versus Alive. First map is Lost and Found. See you in game. All right, here we go. First of two semifinal matches starts now for the Ollimoleague. Spawning in the upper right, we have the red Terran player Alive.
He was doing a lot of this last time we saw him on TVT. In the bottom left was the blue Terran. He is O Gaming's Innovation.
Yeah, and his Reapers were working to the point where you almost thought his opponents weren't pro-Korean Terrans. But real quick shout out for the tournament, guys. If you like the event and you like what you're seeing here, unfortunately, we do not send replays from this particular tournament out to our subscribers. I know it's one of the big selling points to subscribing to Base Trade TV. Even though we have over 1,000 subscribers, about a dozen of you download these replay packs. But whatever, I'll still do it for the dozen of you that do it. But however, we don't give out replay packs for this tournament. The only way to get replay packs for the Ollimoleague is to sign up through their Patreon, patreon.com/Ollimoly. It's not run by us in Base Trade TV. We don't touch or see the money at all. That is entirely Ollimoly.
But you get all the replays, so that's always cool.
Yeah, and if you're an up-and-coming aspiring content creator, these are some of the best replays you could go cast. Because God knows the English coverage of this event doesn't actually talk about the game.
Just Terran bias garbage, really. God.
Yeah, and me.
Well, you can't be too biased in this one for Terran. For both Terrans. You get it. But I am kind of biased for Innovation. He did really well with his double racks versus, I don't remember who it was, to be honest, but it was someone pretty good. And even if he didn't necessarily win the game right off the bat, which he shouldn't here, for instance, he still ends up getting enough of a good game to get a macro game going. So Alive is going for a factory expand, which usually sets you up pretty well. If you do this absolutely perfectly, like your micro par and you don't have like an awkward Reaper on the map, which he almost did, but he brought it back. Now you can hold against this and have a decent economy, but he does take a lot of damage on that Reaper, even though he brought it back. He ran right into the Reapers initially.
It's super important he got this so low, though, because even if he heals up, it's going to be too low when the second Reaper comes to fight. So for Innovation, as long as he doesn't eat like a really bad Hellion shot here, he should have a very clear like army fight win.
If he can get like 3 more SCVs, he also just is in a good position. Because even though Alive... okay.
He's got more health than the Reaper.
Yeah, Innovation wins that fight. Wow. So he's going to get those extra couple of SCVs. We do have a starport on the way instead of that command center that Alive was probably initially planning on going on. Not entirely sure. Marine pops out faster than a Reaper, so that ended up being a kind of an odd choice, or good choice, sorry. That typing is odd.
I can't read Korean, but I hope it says you suck.
I'm not sure what it says.
Oh, Scotty B also just subbed, ruining the perfect streak, but I'm not going to complain because it's a tier 2 sub. We don't have many of those. Scotty B! Thank you for the 4 months, dude. I guess a bit of a textual standoff between the two Koreans as they assess the situation.
So we should as well. Now we have Innovation going for a faster command center, but he will be behind on the starport / Viking that he will need. Okay, just combine the two.
Star King just sounds like a cool anime character.
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, Star King is
God.
Well, okay, animation just wins here, I guess. That's cool.
What do you do? Set up a Liberator to chase Reapers? That's not going to happen. The Cyclone comes out. Even the Cyclone might not be able to handle this because if it gets tossed around with grenades, it doesn't get to attack. The SCV line's been pulled. There's the Cyclone, but oh my goodness. This has got so many workers at this point. And with the faster CZ on the other side of the map, like, innovation should be so good in terms of money and SCVs for this game.
Now, appropriately, innovation's scared of the potential counter. A Cyclone accidentally just flies past the Liberator, but he should still be fine. That Widow Mine's gonna really help.
Oh.
Yeah.
And there's the little laugh out of innovation. GG!
Yeah, that's it. Innovation should still be fine.
Well, that went about as poorly as you would expect for poor Alive in that situation. Innovation snowballing a bit with Reapers and takes a quick game 1. In the meantime, Dehu donates $5 and says, "Keep up the great work, Base Trade TV." Well, thank you, Dehu, for the $5. Also, apparently I missed Errol's. I didn't realize Errol donated to us earlier. I don't know how I missed that. Can I replay that? Will that work? There we go. Hey, Errol DM, I missed this entirely earlier, man, but thank you for the $13.37 2 hours ago. This is great intros, great casters, great games. The new Justin Medal. Everything is good. Well, it would be good if I had caught that donation. I'm not sure if that was just during a break or something. Totally missed that, dude. That's my bad. If you're still watching, beyond grateful. Thank you so much. We also had some subs I've missed out on because we've been hopping around these games and there's been very little downtime. So while we get into this next lobby, I want to give a thank you to Trollpod for the Twitch Prime sub. Fractal Cactal rocked out 2 months. It's more like butt trade TV, am I right? You know it. Crowman also has a brand new sub. Droid Trooper came back for 14 months. And then, like I said, we had missed that sick donation of $13.37 out of Errol. Thank you again for that, dude. As well as Dehu just now for the 5. I think that should hopefully get us caught up on everybody. But folks, no matter what it is, whether it's $1 to the Patreon, $13 in a donation, or just watching the stream, thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it because it gives us good reason to be here. I mean, again, I know a lot of people are only from the front page, and that's cool, but still, like 4,000 some odd people joining us at what is 6:30 a.m. on a weekday to watch some StarCraft. That motivates me to keep doing this. That motivates me to wake up next week and the week after and the week after. So thank you guys for joining us. But let's hop in a blue shift. See you in game. All right, game 2 kicks off, and, well, somebody's not staying at home. Unfortunately, this guy is. In the bottom left, we have the Blue Terran. He's down 1 at the moment. It is Alive.
In the top right, as the Red Terran, he is Innovation.
All right, he is proxying again. Dad Rock Radio again in chat says, "Man, I wish they didn't give up so easily. I bet 1 out of 100 games they can get a comeback and it would be worth it." Dude, Dad Rock Radio, you should look up a player named Fantasy. You might be his biggest fan and you just don't even know it yet. Because he's infamous for the quote-unquote fantasy GG timing, where he just stays in the game till the end, pretty much no matter what. And yes, you are right. Probably 1 out of 100 games, he gets a clutch victory despite what should have been a loss. The other 99 times, though, it's awkward and strange.
I'm not even sure about the 1 out of 100, but not important. What's important is the T-Rex is Alive. You know, the setup is not bad against the T-Rexes. What is bad is, you know, whenever you send a Reaper forward, whenever you take the initial like too many shots, because that's what happened. Alive brought the Reaper back, technically the safe play. Got a Helen already on the way, which produces very fast and is such usually also a safe play. And he just took so much damage on the Reaper that it couldn't help. Even if the SCVs are pulled, it couldn't help. It'd be targeted out immediately. So we're going to have to really pay attention to not his build order, which is pretty identical, but to the Reaper positioning and how fast he sees this and how fast he reacts to it.
Well, just before the attack commences, DeFreak plays Winston about the Rat-A-Tech Cup in the Archon mode versus Wardy. We are actually trying to set some stuff up for BlizzCon because Wardy and I are going to be staying together at TwitchCon. We're going to be at BlizzCon for another week together. We're trying to see if we can make this happen in real life, guys, because it'd be more hype if we could. But yeah. I don't have any information. It's being worked on. Now the fight commences here, and the Reapers dive on top of this. But the problem is if they get surrounded by the SCVs, as you can see there for a few seconds, it gets deadly and scary. He's going to pick up the SCV that's building Starport. That's actually really nice. But he doesn't have that same snowball effect that he had in Game 1. Innovation, like this could still work out, but it has not yet. Oh, that's a big pickoff, though. Might go back that low Reaper.
No, jeez.
Oh, this is so risky the way he had dived in like that. 4 Reapers now. All he's got to do is make sure he's got enough health on these to not get one shot by the Hellion. They don't have to be full. They just have to survive one blast, and he's good to go. So Innovation might just dive back in here very soon. That's a risk. He doesn't know which side of the ramp. Like, these units are waiting for you. It's a bit of a gamble as to where you go up because you don't know. And he will luck out with a gamble. Goes up on the left side. Hellions were not positioned for this.
He needs to spread a little bit. He already took one pretty damaging shot to almost every single Reaper, but he's going to go for the grenades. He's kind of getting low on them, though, to get the last one.
Uh-oh.
He's going to have Marines to support the Hellions as well. I think Alive has done a good job of stopping the snowball. He has a faster starport. He has a faster factory even. That's how late Innovation's tech is behind when he does this. And the workers are very, very even.
It's so crazy how black and white the difference is, though, right? Like, for Alive, just look foolish. Like, how does this build ever lose? Then Game 2 holds it like a champ so far, asterisk, and might be better off for it. Because, I mean, Innovation's, like, tech is behind. The Starport's only just halfway done now. I think that if he pairs up the push... Yeah, I think Alive should be okay. I actually really wish he'd pursue this. I guess he's worried about the Reapers hopping back up, but like 2 Hellions going underneath this Liberator, he's sick as escort.
That's exactly what you have to be afraid of. You can be on top of the world thinking that you've defended, you have faster tech, you have a secure command center because it's on the high ground, and then 5 Reapers come in and instantly slaughter 10 SCVs before you can respond. You don't want that happening. You also don't want the Liberator getting sieged up here, so a couple of kills going to go down. Oh well.
The one of mine is a nice touch. I think speed and timing works out very well to deal with the Liberators in these cases.
Yeah. And you've managed to save it because the Liberator dies, so Roman gets another shot. Hopefully. What? Okay.
Nope. Just kidding.
Okay. Yeah, well, it almost walks past, so it's...
Ooh, this is not a fight Innovation can take. He realizes this perhaps a little too late.
Oh, interesting choice. So the Cyclone War, well, I guess it was going to be won by Innovation anyways, with Fair's advantage, but tries to go for the SCVs. He already got 4 with the Liberator. He's going to get 5 more, but he will have a later command center, just slightly. 9 SCVs, never mind. That is Alive in the lead here.
I'm a little jaded by the Hellion choice. I think the risk was really cool. Like, if he had got a solid blast off of like 8 SCVs, this is like game-ending damage, right? But, yeah, this ended up being a little weak at the end of the day. I mean, it did good damage. Like, overall, like, yeah, the SCV lead is huge.
Oh,
the lock on the Raven. Oh my god, he gets out of there with 1 shot remaining, 4 health, alive, just like, ooh.
Oh, shit. That would have been a really nice pickoff. Totally worth even losing a Cyclone. Not all your Cyclones, but losing 1.
Yeah.
Oof, okay.
Now, I know this guy had wanted to stream live or resub live. Yui737, thank you very much for these 6 months. Says, yeah, would you look at that? I made it on stream. Woo. Yeah. You lucked out because this is one of 2 casts before we're gone for a week and a half. Skin, I'll be going to both TwitchCon and BlizzCon, and Zymbreb will be just going to BlizzCon. Are you running another Banshee tournament between now and then at all, or are you taking a break too?
I am.
To which?
I am doing a tournament.
Oh, okay. Like, are you doing a tournament or taking a break? I am. Oh, both? That's great. Actually, my favorite comedic answer is like when people do ask questions like that, you just say yes. I don't know. I always think it's funny when that joke or trope or whatever it's called, it's like in a show or movie or whatever.
Oh, this is looking a little awkward. Cyclones had lost to Locken, I guess. Or just figured they wouldn't be able to do it. They figured Cloak would be done, but weirdly enough, a lot didn't go for Cloak.
Yeah, getting even more SCVs. I mean, Innovation's done a great job keeping up with this, right? And he's got a third CC on the way, so he's not out of the game despite taking what is a grand total of 16 SCVs lost now. But man, losing a Cyclone to go with that was kind of awkward. Also, what is this engineer, babe?
Yeah.
I think this is going to choke units trying to come down out of the main.
I feel like he made it after the Hellion run by, so maybe that's why. But this is not going to help here, that's for sure. Innovation, if he could hold this push, I think he would be on his way to recovery. But I don't. He's just going to Interference Matrix the tank. That'll be like all she wrote. Yeah, and I don't know why he was trying to repair Cyclones the last second.
On the auto turrets on top of this. Yikes. All right, well, live, we'll turn this around on Innovation and tie the series up 1-1. The biggest question on my mind, though, is does Innovation proxy for a third game in a row in this situation?
Sure.
Well, Matt picked too.
I don't think he did.
Well, I guess we'll find out. Either way, guys, it's been about 18 minutes, so we're going to play another break here real quick. Back into Game 3, ASAP. And if the game gets started before the commercials are done, we'll play shorter ads. Don't you worry, I got you back, Twitch chat.
I'm walking down the road less traveled. It's harder when the sun is shining, 'cause the light's not fair. I'm talking to my darkest shadows. This love is do or die, but they don't care. I don't know why I do this to myself. It's not right, but I can't love no one else, no one else. But I can't love no one else, no one else. But I can't love no one else, but I can't love no one else.
All right, we're back. Things are tied up 1-1. If you're just joining us in this semifinals of the Ollimoleague. Of course, we have another semifinal match. Cure versus Trap still awaits. That's a TVP, Terran versus Protoss, on the other side of the bracket. And as we get into this game, in the top right, playing for O Gaming, we have the red Terran, Innovation.
In the bottom left, has the blue Terran. He is alive.
Okay, so I guess because typically front page tends to end on the hour, I'm not sure if we're going to lose all you wonderful faces here in 13 minutes or if we'll have another hour. But assuming that we're going to lose front page time, again, one last time to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope you consider coming to join us for the rest of the tournament because we are going to play this all the way through to the finals today. But also, excuse me, hope you'll consider just throwing a follow and maybe coming back in the future.
To do the introductions, well, he coughed out a lung. We did not have any T-Rexes happening on the map. In the bottom left, the blue Terran, he's alive.
Well, I went all cast without a particularly bad coughing fit, and then I think I just lost one of my lungs. It's great.
Just pick it up, back up, and put it back in.
Pick it up and put it back in. All right, let me just. Hey, that did the trick. Thanks for the tip.
You're welcome. You want to do the other guy?
Nope. Wait, no, I already did innovation. What are you talking about? Yeah, after about 2 hours of coughing, my throat will get a little sore and collapse on itself, which is great. But you know what? I can breathe. I can sleep for time. It's been awesome feeling better. Just in time to travel and get sick all over again.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would suck. If we don't get con flu.
I'm going to bring so much hand sanitizer with me. It's going to be unreal. But hey, you know what? We lost the sub because it happened as we went to the break. Manic Moment, thank you very much for that Twitch Prime sub earlier. 5 months running. OJ Tech just now comes back for 13. Says SC2. Good to see you guys. Good to see you too.
Yeah, hi. All right, so no T-Rex alive finally gets to execute his factory expand, I believe, to what he actually wants to do with it. Innovation goes full on one base Banshee.
Oh, hey, Zombie Up just subbed to the stream. Thank you very much, Zombie Crub.
As if people are going to agree that's me and not you.
Stupid idiot. Great name. Thank you very much for that Twitch Prime sub. All right, so with no proxies in play, does Innovation even know how to play TVT? Let's be real, guys. This is clearly a player who needs that crutch.
Well, I think the time where we cast him, again, I don't remember who it was against, but TVT. Nope, don't remember. But he T-Rex twice, and then he went to a macro game, and I think he won that macro game, so he does not need it as a crutch.
Your thinking sound is very reminiscent to me trying to coax a squirrel to come over and say hi.
That's how you do it? Really? It's more like, yeah, that's different. That's different than a almost like kind of.
I hear the difference. We're saying the same thing, man.
No way. What I'm doing has your tongue like, and your well, anyways.
Sorry, I like this response to me coughing up a lung. That's why you have two Rifkin. Yeah, that's how that works. That livers. All right, we have the drop from Alive coming in with a couple of Cyclones. Unfortunately, Innovation won't be matched for this initially, but I think the Banshee plus the Cyclone should hold.
Two livers.
But, well, okay.
Well, anyways, this is probably going to go in favor of Alive. Double Cyclone drop with the Cyclone at home to defense. Seems favorable for me. To me.
Yeah.
Even Reaper's getting in on the action.
That's going to be next kill 10 up to 10. Ooh.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
David, thank you very much for the 1 year renewed. And well, this does get cleaned up. This still drew the attention of Innovation away from his attack, making it even weaker on the other side. The counter just simply not there. And with 11 SCVs down in a mirror matchup of all things, too. I'm not surprised he taps out. That's the GG. Alive takes a 2-1 over Innovation and will walk on over to the finals.
Well done, Alive. Well done.
That's pretty sick for Alive, actually, in all honesty. But I make jokes about Innovation, the proxy, the crutch. I don't think he actually needs to rely on proxies to win, but he's been doing them so frequently. I actually sit there and I'm like, I wonder if there's a little bit of truth to that. Well, that will send us, I guess, as swiftly as we can to our next match. I'm not sure if it's ready to go like right this second, but we have Trap versus Cure in the other semifinals, and of course, we then have a best of 5 grand finals. If you guys are unfamiliar with the Ollimoleague, thanks to all of you who contribute to that Patreon. It boasts a $200 a week prize pool, and then of course a $500 monthly prize. So these guys, they are competing not just for cash, $100 for first place, 50 for second, 25 for third and fourth, but also more importantly, points, because those points are what get you invited to tomorrow's monthly finals, which has the bigger prize pool. So you could win all these weeklies, that's fine, but of course you'd have to win all 3 to be worth more prize money than the monthly finals. So it's really worth getting there.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people are already shoo-ins, having won tournaments in the past. I don't know who though.
So I didn't even catch this. As soon as we got out of the game, did you see Ryung just spam laughing in the chat?
Yeah, Live said something. I don't know what.
Oh, I thought he was just laughing at innovation because they're like friends. Like, ha ha ha, way to lose. Like, dude.
I don't know what that.
All right. Well, we're getting into the game now for the other semifinals. First map's gonna be Lost and Found as we go back to it. That sub sound, that's the sub sound for every time it's a 1 year. So 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it's got a special sub alert sound. David says, yay, real life part 2. Well, maybe. David, are you going to be at TwitchCon or BlizzCon? Because if you are, I can hook you up. But if I guess not everyone knows. We've been talking about this. We've been posting about it everywhere we can. When about 7 or 8 months ago, Canada changed its postal system to the point where it costs literally twice as much to send out part 2s than it did before. It's kind of at a bit of an impasse as to what to do about it. 7 months I've been looking for a solution, and 7 months I haven't really found one. So all real life part 2s are on a bit of a hiatus. But if you guys happen to be going to an event that I'm going to or something, like, I'm very happy to bring them with me and like give them to you in person. But it's not something like, again, I've got, Zongrip can attest to this, I got literally bags of these fucking things. I don't want to keep them. I'm not trying to hoard them for a treasure chest. I want to give you the part 2s. I want to give them away. We just got to find an effective way to do it.
Don't you want to put them all in a treasure chest and then put it, bury it so that it
increases in value?
Exactly.
Yeah. Ron Swanson tactics. Ron Swanson economics.
Yeah.
Make sure myself, I can show you the bracket. You know what, dude? Because it's you, I will skip the intro and we can go over the bracket together. Let me just get this pulled up real quick.
That's very nice of you.
All right. So this is what the games have looked like so far today. We did a lot of casting here in the southern side of the bracket, so we don't really know what a lot of the top side looked like, but some good players making it through. Alive had to take on quite a few players to get here. Same with both Trap and Cure. That being said, you want to see more guys, you just type exclamation brackets into the Twitch chat. Let's get into game. It's already underway. Spawning in the bottom left, we have the blue Terran, Cure, who is not going to be staying at home.
Like a surprise. The top right is the red Grados. He is Trap. Wait, it's also Jim here still?
I believe so. I haven't heard of him leaving.
With teammates.
The party.
Teammates.
I'm not sure if he still is. I know Trap was staying with SOS for a period of time. I managed to grab it. I didn't even know this. We grabbed an interview with SOS, and Trap was just in the background playing. And he's like, oh, yeah, he's always here. I'm like, oh, okay.
Do they have to share a room?
I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what the situation is. But the point is,
okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was still engineer because, yeah. There's not really a reason to kick these guys. I don't think they're being salaried anyways. It could be. I could be wrong. I actually have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know, so I won't say anything further. But they just do a good job of using actually their clan tags. But they could be partners. They could be teamsies, and he would know. I mean, they both would know their weaknesses and strengths. Kira is apparently one of the hardest workers on the team, constantly playing, constantly being practice partners, constantly grinding out a ladder. So he's pretty high up there on the ladder. But he still falls to a lot of different people, never quite reaching the heights of Amaru. Feels bad. But he certainly knows how to proxy, and he has hidden his proxy pretty well. It'll take away from the speediness of it. 2 cyclones won't suddenly appear at Trap's doorstep, but Trap won't know that it's 2 cyclones. So that, is potentially a good trade-off.
Well, if the surprise factor's there, it's one thing. Then it's just the raw power of the attacks. Like, even if you see it coming, not necessarily easier to defend against. Either way, Azella and a Robo is a good combo of things to start. I think we see this really commonly, right? Like, a blind response to proxy is just a Robo because pretty much anything you're proxying is going to get dealt with by that Robo.
Pretty much. Stargate can work out, just not against what Kira is doing this game. So it would be a bad gamble. It works out against starports. It works out against, the factory back at home, but it doesn't work out against double cyclones. From what I've seen anyways, very rarely. So it's a good thing that Trap does go for the Robo. That is, I think, the best way to deal with the cyclones. Get the high ground shield battery, get an immortal. If it dies, hopefully the second one's right on the way. And you should be pretty good. And again, that trade-off, Trap doesn't know it's double cyclone, but Kira has to kind of come from farther away. Good timing on the STV pool, though.
I like what Shark Face said in chat. Too long to read, but much appreciate, dude. But a smile on my face as the Cyclones get across the field. Oh, this is a beautiful start. It's just a freebie pylon. It doesn't seem like much, but that's a possible supply block coming up for the defense.
It's not quite going to block the second immortal, but Trap doesn't have the minerals to start that yet. He gets on the low ground immediately, and while two more Cyclones can definitely take on a single immortal, we do have him going for War Prism. Really mixes things up with the micro.
Lands the command center because reasons, I guess.
Well, might be able to block something. Who knows? Nexus is going to be temporarily targeted. A lot of damage went down, and then going for the immortal, exactly what you should do. And that, oh God, the War Prism wasn't out yet. It is now. That was at the cost of the second immortal.
Oh, it's a kill, not a cancel on the Nexus. These SCVs have done a great job preparing these Cyclones too. They're going to try to chase that down, but they can just turn and shoot at the immortal. I mean, they are projectiles that can technically be dodged, I guess. But the War Prism does go down. No more dodging for this guy. Snipes off that one Cyclone. A Marine is about to spawn. What is this, innovation? He triggers the barrier on the immortal.
Nicely done. Very important there. Second immortal is about to pop, but it's up against 3 Cyclones and a repair, so I'm not sure it's going to be enough. This instantly target down that weak Cyclone, but now the pros will be pulled. This is close. I don't know why Trap's getting an observer. I really don't know why he's getting an observer.
Maybe he's worried about a Cloak Banshee following this up. It wouldn't matter either way. GG, I love the question mark. He doesn't even understand. He's just like, GG. Well, that's one way to go down. Anyways, I didn't want to bring this into the game, but just to address this because Doctor has brought up. Look, guys, I have had about a dozen streams where we've talked about this. There are reasons that are reasonable why I can't do some solutions that sound easy for the Partoofs. And while some things are great suggestions and I appreciate them, like bringing them with me to convention, it's just not practical, and I don't want to go into like a big discussion for the millionth time. I'm just worn down by this argument. So at the moment, the way our current solutions for the Partoof system are looking to go, and this isn't to say this will be how it goes, is we either give them out for a later date more than 12 months, because like I said, the whole point is it's got to be cost efficient, right? There's no point having you sub for a year if it costs us more than what you subbed for a year. Like, we'd go broke and not be able to host any tournaments, right? So we're either going to extend it to be like 18 months or something, or say that if you reach 1 year, you could pay for your own shipping if you want it shipped out immediately. Those seem to be the most decent solutions, I guess, to the situation at hand. But again, until I post something publicly, either be it through Discord or a sub message, like, it's just on hiatus, and I don't have a better thing about it until then. So unless, I don't want to sound rude about it, but I'm just not interested in hearing the solutions, because it's the same solutions that get suggested every time for the 100th time in a row. So don't take this as me being upset at anyone for suggesting things. I just don't want to get into this again. So with that being said, let's hop on to Blue Shift. See you guys in game. Question mark? We're back into it. It's game number.
I'm sorry, was that Roman numerals?
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself. Dying. Game number 2. Hopping into it. In the top right side of the map, we have the blue
Trap.
Yeah, I feel like an old man. Like perfectly fine. Hit the 3-hour mark. Now my lungs and my throat just won't. They aren't working so good. So if you guys are hearing this awkward pauses, it is because I am just muting to have a pretty hardcore cough session. Sorry about the awkward pauses.
Yeah, he's got the mute micro, but then it might sound a little awkward if you don't know what's going on. Speaking of awkward, I'm not Praxi. Cure, it ended up working out fairly well for him. I think there was a couple of just, hindsight 2020 on that War Prism as opposed to Second Immortal, I think. And then that Observer was just like kind of a big question mark. I don't know if he would have won if it wasn't an Observer because an Immortal takes so much longer to pop out. But still, there actually was a situation where Trap had all the right tools, except he didn't have a shield battery. I guess that's the caveat. He did not have a shield battery, and that was maybe the biggest problem. I think actually you could definitely make a strong case for that. But what you got to do now is, second proxy. Is it the same proxy? I don't know. Trap doesn't know. Well, I guess I know, but Trap doesn't know. And he has, kind of a low chance of directly scouting what proxy it is. But I'm glad that his probe is doing this whole loop around thing, because at least it sees the factory is at home.
Yeah, I guess, excuse me, for Cure, it is very much an odd position to place the factory, and you are hoping, I guess there's a little bit of a gamble that your opponent doesn't go that deep to scout. They immediately pull out and look for said proxy. But in this case, it worked out well for Trap. The Reaper also does not get a lot of damage done thanks to this wonderful Zealot and Adept combo. And Cure is not dedicating as hard as before. But I say that with a bit of an asterisk, because even a Cyclone coming from a factory built at home can get across the map and do a significant amount of damage.
The Stargate, I said it last game, where if it's not the reactor Cyclone, I think it can be a good response. I think some Prodosses have even been a lot more preferable to trying to force the Stargate response as opposed to the Robo. But I still find it very tricky, personally. Sometimes it looks great, it looks fantastic, they control it all well, and it's like, oh, perfect response. And other times, it's like the Oracle dies to a Woodamine, and then the Cyclone runs in the natural, and goes it still is a little bit tricky. But we are in one of the least committed forms of a proxy for TVP, so it might just look like a normal game from here on out.
I really want Cure to be super all in with this, by the way. The engineering bay coming down, I want to see that fast +1. And I want to see him just push for these barracks instead of play defensively. There'll be a big scout for Trap when he gets over there if the Oracle hopefully gets through to the main. Might get deterred at the natural.
Hopefully. Woodamine is in the main, so it could probably get up there. Trap has been in favor of the multiple Oracles. Maybe a little conservative with his Adepts because it was a bit of an odd start. Seems to be the case even. He's keeping his Adepts back home. He's got Stalkers coming back home. It's just about letting those Oracles peruse the map, and even if one of them dies, they'll at least get some decent scouting. Actually, the Zealot, I guess they have nothing better to do, so it's Scout of the Natural.
Drunken Archon, I want you to think really hard on the dumb question you asked. I'm not even going to time it out. I just want you to take a moment and think really hard on the question you asked to see if you can figure out an answer on your own.
I feel like that one is a little more obvious than some others. But all right then.
What? You think it's not an obvious thing as to why the word sprinkler is banned in chat? Or why people can't type camera?
I don't know about that one. Nice control the Oracles to save a lot of the health on it. The Zealot really had high hopes to be useful in this game without charge.
Well, I mean, he still ended up being useful, though. I mean, his role was to stop the Reaper from snowballing the mineral lines early on. So. I mean, right now, useless, yeah, but was very useful early on.
Okay. Yeah.
The Oracles came in, they could probably one of these Cyclones, probably not both of them, though. So it's a smart move to disengage. Breaks the lock on in the process, too. Now we got a Stalker, too, coming up in the front line. So many Marines, though. I'm really not too worried about Cure, even with Stim still not being done. He just has a nice bulk of units.
Maybe another trap being set up. He's really living up to his name today. The army chases after such a tempting looking army, especially if Stim finishes and then gets trapped in the stasis trap. too many traps, and then can be taken on at only half the army cost. But it's not really working out that perfectly, is it? He's losing stalkers to non-sim Marines, and he noticed it. Nicely done there, Kier. Oh, boom!
Ooh. We're into this one though. We got a little overzealous. But the thing is, what's great is actually the fact that all of the Marines got caught instead of only half the Marines getting caught means there's no real threat to losing an odd chunk of them. So, yes, this was a good escape mechanism for Trap. It was his back door out, but it doesn't really stop Cure. In a few seconds, he's still going to have twice the army supply, and he's still going to try and push. And this time, he's actually got combat shields and stim ready for the attack. Plus, one on top of this. I mean, even with force fields on that ramp, even with these stasis traps being where they are, stopping Cure from dealing damage will be a very difficult task here for Trap.
Yeah, very good point. He definitely was hoping for more of a split on the army so he could take it out one by one, and instead it's just a full twice as big army supply type of tear and push. Now, the force fields can do the same things the stasis traps are going to try and do if he baits Trap up the ramp or Cure up the ramp, but Cure wisely just breaking down the rocks, opening up a different pathway. Oracles actually try and get some damage done to the reinforcements, which is not a bad idea with them. Maybe they catch Widow Mines, I think, is probably the best thing they could take out. Oh, and Marauders. Okay, yeah. Makes sense.
He dives in really deep for this.
Wow.
That was uncomfortably deep, but the upgrades, the cyclones, he still breaks through.
Was it too big for you, Rivka?
It was so big, Zombie Grub.
Okay.
I'm not going to walk straight for 2 days.
Jesus. Oh, maybe a step too far there.
I was talking about his penis. What were you talking about?
That ended up being not a fantastic push by Cure, but not. I mean, if he survives any counter, there's no counter, so I guess he's good to go. That was a bit risky, just a tad. It ends up working all right.
Online strategy DK. Thank you for the 100 bits. We also had a sub come in. Johnson Rod 80. Perfect name for the current topic of conversation. Thank you for the 8-month resub. And Printer Hands came in for 46 months. Thank you, Printer Hands.
Thanks. Oh, you pesky oracles. Supposed to live.
Well, the drop is full of Widow Mines, not Marines, so there's some burst damage potentially on the way, but not sustainable damage. So if Trap dodges and doesn't sit here complacently, I think that this should do minimal damage. But he did just pull the army away.
Something to distract, something to see where the army is. As Trap pulls a lot of his stalkers to the main base, aware of a potential drop on the way. He does not notice the army. Okay, now the Zelnaga sees the army, but there's not a lot of defenses at that third base. Trap is just too busy paying attention to the harassment.
I mean, the beautiful thing is none of the probes are here either. They just transfer them all away, right? So he's not going to lose workers to this, which sounds silly, but though it brings it back. Dangerous.
Yeah. That Archon is going to get...
Oh, what do I got the shot off? That's huge. That was so much shield damage.
God. That was a bit of a backbone to this army, but the Marines, funnily enough, not in high enough numbers to take on the Oracles. And here comes some more charge lots, but here comes also more reinforcements and more Widow Mines. Trap desperately trying to get to that storm. Did he have... No, those are the only Archons, the only High Templars he had. So there's not even anything to use the storm.
Oh, that's devastating for Trap.
I think this might be it. The Micers are going to be way too good. Look at the amount of Marauders, man.
Yeah, the type of units here really matter the most. The Marauders are just chunking through everything. Even the Zealots can't keep up with it. That was a great way to sacrifice an Oracle for some friendly fire. That was done intentionally out of Trap, but even then, still not enough. Well, he really needed some Storms. He really needed something else in this mix, but right now, desperately warping Zealots. He's trying to stay alive. Maybe he should have given up the space. I don't know. But the point is, there's like an 80 army supply to 20 army supply. There's the GG. And Cure, with a 2-0, moves on to the grand finals.
Ooh, for a TVT.
Yeah, this is not even innovation either. This is Cure versus Alive. This is a very different TVT than I was expecting. Not disappointed, not upset, just different. And I'm excited to see how it plays out because, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Cure's TVT. So we're going to go to a break scheduled for 2 minutes. When we get back, the grand finals, one last series to cast. It's a best of 5. See you soon. Hey guys, the lobby's not up yet, and I'm gonna go refill my water. So we're just gonna leave the break screen up with music for a little bit. But as soon as the lobby's good to go, we'll be back with the grand finals.
The sun won't ask for one living can rise. Look at your mind and ask yourself what keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lies that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky. The sun won't ask. The sun won't ask the world if it can rise. Look at the sky. The sun won't ask for one living can rise. Look at your mind and ask yourself what keeps you trapped inside. Look at the lies that follow you when you run and hide. Look at the sky. The sun won't ask. The sun won't ask. The sun won't ask. The sun won't ask. The sun won't.
All right. Well, hello once again, everybody. So we are getting into the grand finals now. Cure versus Alive. I am going to make my prediction. It is a best of 5. I'm going to say 3-1 for Cure.
Okay. I don't want to be lame and say the same thing, so I'm going to say 3-0 for Cure.
Ooh.
Oh.
Look at you go with those predictions. Well, we're going to start it now on Cerulean. See you guys in game. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and respond to this in chat, but I'm going to say this on stream too, because this is kind of an open invite to players only. But Kelazur is asking, hey, what's the Base Trade TV Discord? Well, at Kelazur, are you asking for the public one or the player only one? Because if you guys don't know, and this is not like private knowledge, but it's private invites, we've set up a Discord now for players specifically, because frankly, there's a lot of bullshit on our Discord, which is great and good if you're a fan of the game, but not if you're a player looking for tournaments and strictly information. So happy to give you an invite to either or both, Kelazur. Just hit me up and let me know. But as we're in game number 1, it's a best of 5 grand finals, and in the upper right, we've got the Red Terran alive. But of course, he's not entirely, is he?
In the bottom left, as the Blue Terran, he is here. Alive is going to go scout for this. So, I mean, he's not going to see the T-Rex, but he's going to see it in time enough to try and respond to it.
I look at how things went with innovation, and Proxy Reapers look so convincing. Like, really good players died of Proxy Reapers, which is insane to me. But obviously it is hold offable. I'm not sure why I'm saying that with an accent. But you can hold off Reapers. It's not the end of the world, but it's something that's, if it catches you off guard, it's really difficult to do.
Yeah, and you still aren't in an ideal scenario if you scout it when you're trying to one-rack expand. You still have kind of like an awkward gas timing. Your factory can, like I think its only option is to produce a Hellion instead of maybe like more of a safe Cyclone. You obviously don't have as many units, just simply put. So it's always a tough beginning. If you can survive until that factory starts producing, then maybe you got a shot. And this is already a good start. Now, Cerulean Fall, not a very good Reaper map. There's no Reaper hop-up spots except for the one that Kira is currently blocking with a bunker, 2 bunkers actually. And then even then, you usually have eyes on where they are and are close enough to respond to the Reapers.
I really like the additional use of the bunkers here, because if it is a Cyclone follow-up or something, as it sometimes is, these would actually help hold against that too. But obviously they just physically block the hop-up spots, plus give safe spots for him to sit in. So what's best is he doesn't even have to pay attention. He can actually just focus on his macro, not missing an SCV cycle, things like that. But as far as his SCV on the map, is this... Somebody's going to take a hidden base. He's just looking for other proxies. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you can find the proxy, like another proxy, sure. Or if you can just find the 2 racks and whether or not they're consistently producing, you kind of get a feeling of, are they going to try and backstab me? You know, just keep their 5, 6 Reapers somewhere and come back later. And also, if they're not doing that, then maybe they're trying to get a faster expansion. And you do still have to worry, no matter how well you deal with 2 racks. We saw it with innovation. We're seeing it here. There's still a chance that they come back. They better at build order. They go for the command center and deflect whatever push you do. So you do need some decent scouting, even though it feels like you have the absolute upper hand. You did not expect so many Terrans to go through the Ollimoleague on the Korean server. Sweet child.
Yeah, last week was so many TVTs, actually. It was nice getting a little bit of flavor with Trap, but that series was over and gone so quickly. I almost feel like it wasn't. But there's a lot of variety today. Like, we cast a lot of TVZs, that TVP. It only really was like these 2 matches where we got TVTs. And that is a little odd. I'm not in a good or a bad way. It's just very different. So it's kind of nice having some variety.
It is. It's pretty utilitarian. Luckily, I like TVT. And here loves TVT. He's doing a very good job.
I'm actually really curious on this, like, obvious troll question, but I used to remember a few years ago when Base Trade TV used to be a German channel. When did Rifkin take over? Yeah. Look, on the off chance that this is a serious question, I'm really genuinely curious how you came to this, considering I made Base Trade TV. and it has been English from day one. I'm not sure where that impression comes from.
Is it, Parks and Rec, where she like Leslie Knope is explaining all the town's names or slogans rather in the history. And at one point it was "Hail Hitler" because they thought Germany was going to win World War II. Is this like some like did you go through a German phase, Rifkin? Did you think you were going to a foreign language and you're like, gotta hop on that German train?
No, you know what? I just realized maybe it was when I broke my arms and he first met the stream. It was Caddington.
Oh, the secret Hitler spy who actually wasn't English.
Whoa, you always assumed it was Hitler. I thought that was fucked up, dude. He had no connections to Hitler. Okay.
I mean, I thought he was English and then he revealed that he was a German spy.
Part of the Third Reich, just not associated with Hitler.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, my mistake then. My bad.
That was a bastard cat if I've ever met one. Not that I had, because he was here while I was gone, of course.
I love that guy was like, "Oh, I really thought that was legitimate."
You know what? It's better if he does it. Like, all right, we'll reminisce on past moments later, guys. 3 siege tanks would be terrifying if it weren't for these 2 ravens. And with interference matrix being so powerful, there's no way for him to really fight. SCVs also get a surround. It's a poor one, but it's a surround on the Reaper.
I was gonna say it's taking a fight. I didn't expect it to go so well. I thought I was going to try and snipe the Ravens, but landing the Vikings, even though it wasn't a mostly mechanical ground army coming out for alive, it was just barely enough to really push through. Tank DPS not bad either on Siege.
Oh, that Liberator's huge. Just going to push the tanks back. And as Alive keeps pulling back, Cure will move up, and with his own Siege tanks will eventually be in range to truly threaten this. And while Ravens are good, they have to wait on a lot of energy right now to do anything about this.
Yeah. Alive might just be screwed. I mean, he was starting to recover in the fact that he was getting ahead on SCVs, the faster command center, but he was always going to be at an army disadvantage. Ooh. And in this case, he was at a positional disadvantage. This is such a good position. The tanks are not focus firing. Some of them were, some of them weren't.
Well, I really like the auto turrets on the back lines. I think were a great move, but now he lands the Vikings to even take that tank out. Liberator holds. That's it for Alive. Cure has absolutely won this game. Natural base gets lifted, but doesn't matter. GG. Cure takes game number 1.
GG.
I do like this combination of things, though. Someone in chat said BTTV is base take TV.
I like...
That would be the good mashup, I think. Yeah.
It would be, but someone's like, he confused it with base trade TV because of TV, and I'm like, God forbid he confuses anything else that has TV at the end. All right.
What else could TV even stand for?
I know, right? 2 vacuums. I would figure.
That base guy took 2 vacuums. Base take TV. I guess because there's a lot of people who weren't around when I broke my arms. Funny enough, yes, that did really happen. Secondly, because I couldn't wear a shirt on stream, because I couldn't like put a shirt on, but I could still talk and cast. I would just use this. I remember what it was, face rake or something. It let you just basically have a 3D model follow your mouth movements and stuff. So there was some. My favorite was the little dog with the big mouth. But the little bowl, do you remember that guy? Anyways, it's blue shift for game 2. Let's hop into it. Zombie grub can sometimes, if you look up the definition of doubling down in the dictionary, you'll see her face smiling right back at you next to the definition.
Smiling? That's a stretch.
All right, it's game 2 in a best of 5. We're still here for the grand finals. He's up 1-0. He's the man in the top right. It's Cure.
In the bottom left, as the Red Terran, he is alive.
What's the show about Man in the High Castle about? It's about ruling Europe. Save for Sarahs. I love that answer.
I haven't watched the rest of the series. I know like season 3 recently came out.
Yeah, it was a wake up call because I remember being so stoked I couldn't wait for season 2 because season 1 is that crazy cliffhanger, right? And then I saw it come out and I was busy at the time and I never got around to watching it.
Yeah, no spoilers.
I know they look terrible on cars.
I know, really, they really do. But it kind of amused me that Japan was kind of like the nice guys in that show. I thought that was really, I don't know. They were, well, I didn't watch the complete series, as I said, but like they were the ones that were like, I don't know if we should do this. We should make sure this guy doesn't get into power because he's like the worst amongst everyone. I mean, that's great, obviously, but
I guess in any situation where you're comparing one party to Hitler, then yes, the party is always going to be the nice guys.
That's what I meant about the nice guys. They were the nice guys of the bad guys. They looked at each other and said, "Are we the bad guys?" And they looked to the Germans, and they're like, "Well, not as bad as them." So, which is kind of like actually like not even. It's like the opposite of what truly happened. But anyways,
I feel like we should, as intentionally as possible, distance ourselves from the topic of Hitler. But before we do, I gotta ask: do you watch a show called Preacher by chance?
Nah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then let's definitely take a step in the other direction. Not a goose step, just a regular step.
You want to talk about Mussolini or Stalin? Or?
Personally, Winston Churchill. Him and Teddy Roosevelt were kind of badasses.
Apparently, Churchill was widely disliked until World War II. And I feel like I learned that recently. I don't remember why or how, but I did. And now he's considered like one of the greatest.
He was a lush.
Was he? Was that it? I don't think that was it. I think people just didn't like his policies.
Actually, what I always find really interesting is like, of course, it is like history is dictated by the winners and all that, right?
Yeah.
I wonder at what point like you start seeing pivots. Like, for example, I'm not saying it would happen, but okay, World War III happens. I don't know. Japan wins. Does everyone suddenly forget like that? Like, how do you rearrange it, right? Like rearrange history.
Well, considering how much Japan has actually kind of gotten away with how much they have themselves to rearrange history, or
well, okay, I should rephrase it. I mean, like, how many generations does it take to lose the information that everybody already knows, right? Everyone knows we won World War II. But like, how many generations does it take for a different side?
Apparently, only like 2 generations or 3 or whatever it is, right? Because you have not Nazi sympathizers, but I was thinking of Holocaust deniers. There you go.
Oh,
so
God,
it doesn't really take that long, does it? It's just But your question is more like, how long does it take for like the whole mass of civilization? I don't know.
Yeah, I can't even believe. I can't. We gotta get away from this topic because I'm gonna get ranty, and if I get ranty, then people who make comments get mad at me. So we're gonna, even though it's the last time we did this with the anti-vaxxers, we're just gonna put a stop on this for now. We know who's stupid. We know who's not. We have an attack coming out of Alive. I think Cure's got a pretty adequate amount of units to deal with this. The Raven is the most appealing thing here, obviously, as it can cancel out one of the Cyclones. But as far as like an actual numbers to numbers battle, unless this tank has some serious shots off, he's outclassed.
I wouldn't have even minded the tank being not siege for a little while there, but it does get a nice shot as it sieges before the Cyclones can move away. So Alive is doing some XCD damage. Also, his Reapers once again backstabbing.
Yep, 5 workers is good to start. It's has evened up the count at least, bare minimum. But one of the big things is as the Reapers head out, they do know that there's a 3rd CC that was started up, so he starts his up in turn. And okay, this might not have been a crazy push with the Cyclones. Gotta really highlight that it could have been. That was something where, like, if the tank's out 5 seconds later, this doesn't hold.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you up against someone who goes for more than 2 Cyclones, hell, even more than 1, right? It's like, maybe I should have gotten a bunker. It can end in very silly fashion. But if you have a tank on the high ground, usually it's okay. And it was something that Cure dealt with, even though he ultimately took some damage from it. We do have also a mech versus bio scenario. It's fun. That's fun. Alive throwing out the mech. Not usually a mech player in my mind, so we'll see how he works with it.
Yeah, I actually remember specifically criticizing some of his mech builds because when he started doing it versus Zerg, like I want to say even just like a year and a half ago, it looked really unconvincingly bad. But of course, that's a different matchup, different time, and TVT is another beast. But I think Mech in all matchups gets its greatest power from the larger armies. So smaller engagements like this early on, I don't think this will even break the tanks. I guess with a couple interference matrices actually it could. So this is actually really scary for Alive. His Raven needs to be out here to interference matrix, counter interference matrix, if you will. But 4 auto turrets to buy some time. I mean, he's just got to wait like 5 seconds, right? The big thing is once these wear off, the tanks are better against the Cyclones.
That was scary for sure. The best case scenario is maybe interference matrixing the Raven before it throws down any, but the auto turrets were a solid backup plan. And he did have a decent number of units supporting the tanks as well. So it was one of those, well, maybe it wouldn't have ever gotten truly terrible. But a very nice holds. Kier's still down 4 SCVs, staying a bit faster to command center, having a good army supply as well. And Alive is at the position, if he oversteps, which I feel is very close to happening, he's still at that weak moment of mech where you really are kind of depending on your Cyclones, if you're anti-air, you don't have a lot of tanks or even a lot of production. So this, it feels like Kira might get the better end of this, and he goes right towards the natural. As he holds against the Cyclones over here, Alive doesn't have much army.
The Marauders work out really well with that tank combo. And I mean, now you can bring those to the front line too. What is this? Okay, it's just scouting barracks. Yeah, the tanks set up, they get interference matrix. A little rough here, but so many SCVs die to only take out 1 tank.
This did end up going so much better for Kier, and
that scan was huge.
It's crazy how effective, how important Alive's transition here was, how much he wanted to just keep Kier back at home, pinned back. If the Cyclones were here helping defend, that might still not have been enough. Simply put, his tank count was high enough. He really wanted to have another 30 seconds to a minute of being able to produce, and Kier hit that exact right timing. Is probably going to win the game from here. Yes, he is.
GG. Kier goes up 2-0, but guys, it's not a best of 3. It's not like the previous series. He does have to win 1 more to actually lock this down. So, see how this next game goes. We're going to go to a small break before that, though. Sorry, I'm still dying here, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Look, Base Trade TV's got your back, guys. We could have played a full 3-5, been a dickhole with the ads. No, we cut them short so we could get in the game and not miss any of the action. As we get to map number 3, it might be the last one. Let's hope it's not the last one, though. As spawning here in the lower right side, we've got the Red Terran Alive on his last life.
The top left of the Blue Terran, it is Kier dominating this TVT. But man, you say dick hole, and I'm like, is it a dick hole, the hole on the dick, or is it the hole in which the dick goes in?
Okay, I'm gonna have one of those. When did I say dick hole?
You just you're like to be, we could have been a dickhole.
Oh. Oh, my use of language.
And I'm like, one asshole is a hole in your ass. So,
I mean, it's a really sensitive, possibly painful part of the body. So don't mess with it. Don't worry about it.
Okay. I'm not going to worry about it anymore.
At any rate, this is something that's tough. I'm a big fan of Alive. He plays in so much stuff. We've seen him be a badass. We know he's not as powerful right now as he was in times past, but I mean, consider his TVT that got taken, his TVT that it took to get here. It was him versus Innovation. If he could take down a player like Innovation, you'd think, oh, well, surely he could take on somebody like Cure, but it's just really not the case. There's something special about Cure and TVT. And no, Cure doesn't have a perfect track record. Obviously, people have enjoyed shoving that in my face when I'm wrong about calling his games, but I think it's a safe bet. Whenever you see Cure in a TVT, I would bet Cure.
Well, it's working out really well. I'm feeling confident about my prediction.
Well, thank you for the 300 bits, Diesel, throwing some rat-a-tat in my ear.
Thank you. So 1 base to 1 base, Hellion to Cyclone. They're going to go for the faster starport. Actually, he's going Command Center. Alive should be 2. And then he'll be later. Pretty even stuff here, but the Cyclone's obviously going to win the ground war.
Cyclones are really powerful. I mean, we're past the point in the game where they were the default, but man, there's a good reason that they were the only thing Terrans would do for an opening for what felt like half of a year. It was just Cyclone versus Cyclone. TVT was the worst. Someone earlier in the chat, I was going to answer, but we got caught up in the game, asked, what's your favorite mirror matchup to cast? And that has shifted a lot. I would honestly say, I hate to say it, I really do, but I would honestly say ZVZ right now, I'm enjoying a lot. TVT for a while was probably the best mirror matchup, but then when Cyclone was a thing, it was pretty bad and tainted my taste for it.
Yeah. I feel like TVT is still my favorite, but it is swapped. PvP used to be this really fun little mixed rare occurrence, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. But now whenever I get to see it, it just feels like if it doesn't end between 5 minutes and 8 minutes, it goes to the +2 timing, and it's so predictable. First 8 minutes, not so much. Next 8 minutes, definitely predictable. So I've actually grown to not love it as much, but as far as mirror matchups go, I actually like all of them to watch. It's just playing is, boy, that mule is finding nothing. Whoa. Anyways,
when TVT was the best?
People will argue that it never was, but yeah, go ahead.
When you could pick up tanks in a medevac.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. Some guy posted on Reddit, when did Blizzard decide to have engineer base not float between the developing StarCraft 2 and the fact that they float in StarCraft 1? And I said, I don't know, but them putting it so that engineering bays weren't required to build missile turrets and Legacy of the Void beta was probably the best thing ever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I mean,
exactly. It was so good.
In fairness, though, they've tweaked the Oracle and other units so it's not as necessary. Because man, it was broken as fuck. Legacy of the Void for Protoss was either really broken in a bad way or really broken in a good way. It just depended on which balance patch it happened to be going through.
Yeah, it was quite the balancing act, literally. Figuratively, whatever.
I think the best one, though, was when units warping in took additional damage. It was a cool idea in concept, but so bad in practice. You could kill a Zealot full to dead with just a Zergling attacking it.
Yeah. That's how we won some of those Archon matches, to be honest. Zerg was the most consistently overpowered in Legacy of the Void beginning, so we took full advantage of that.
Yo, we did hit. I do remember the 2 greatest accomplishments, right? I wouldn't even put getting GM up there, but it was kind of a cool thing. The best one, though, was it was as Terran. We beat that guy who was stream cheating as overpowered Protoss in that current patch, right?
Oh yeah, thanks Supernova for the ghost build.
Yeah, I know. I'll never forget that too. It was such a good day. I've never had such a high feeling off of a victory in any game ever.
Yeah. But I was remembering versus Protoss, there'd literally be 2 Lings in the main base, and they'd warp in Zealots, and because the warp in damage was so crazy, 2 Lings would constantly kill Zealots. It was great.
There was one of the ones we played against, I think, Maximus and Puck when we beat them in that one. Because Puck could just get warping in. I'm just like, all right, let me just take these Zerglings over here, have a fun time. But
it's pretty amazing.
Legacy of the Void Beta was a lot of fun. I did enjoy it, despite its ups and downs, even though I was frustrated more than not. At any rate, guys, the game's where it is now. Neither of those races we mentioned are in this matchup, and we got 2 Ravens looking to get a lot of possible interference matrices off. The problem is if Cure counterplays this properly and like he sees the fully committed attack, he could also just cast interference matrix on the Ravens and nullify Alive's attempt to get an advantage.
This is a good decision. The tanks, if they are re-siege, just get interference matrix anyways. And, well, yeah, he wanted to bulk everything up
he's
together.
abandoning his army, though. Oh, he didn't think about this at all. He's like, I'll get a tech lab or 2 at the cost of everything.
Thank you.
I'm not even sure having that army, the air army around would have, I guess a lot of auto turrets would have helped. Like, I guess there is that, but the simple fact was that Cure had a bigger army supply that was not entirely dependent on positioning. He had a lot of Marines to get that concave, and Alive just was not actually, I mean, he was bound to be cleaned up. It just happened faster than he was expecting. Now he might just die.
That Raven was a little too close to the front lines. He really wanted to get more of this done through the tanks. But you know what? Like, while this might not actually be a game-winning move, it still kills so many SCVs and breaks 2 of the tanks on the way out. I mean, let's not forget, Cure can also pick up and just get out of here, or just pick up and keep going, I guess.
Exactly. It's a short map, so he can instantly rally all of his Marines over here, although usually not advised in this matchup. This is one of those situations where you clearly have an advantage. And Alive finally has his Ravens back. They took the long way around. They have some energy, but he's taking the SCV damage. Just too much, I think.
Well, that was a really bold move. It didn't work out quite for Q the way he wanted it to. He was going to sacrifice the tanks to get the Raven. He did get one, but not both. Either way, he's still in a very clear lead. He's got 1-1 already finished. He lost his combat shield timing, which totally sucks, but it's not like Alive had an advantage. His has only just begun as well. So realistically, at the end of the day, Cure's just up 30 or 20-something workers.
Liberator House is going to help a little bit. We also have Alive with something to the north, so he's going to try desperately to bring this game back, but he is behind in SCVs, he's behind in upgrades, he's behind in combat shields, he's behind in the third base even being put down, so he's producing 3 SCVs at a time at least, but certainly not mining super efficiently. That just gets cleaned up easy peasy. This is not... I believe in the power of comebacks in this matchup, but not against Cure.
Not against Cure, but also look at that. Oh, that income graph, man. That is it. Normally not this bad in a TVT, or at least it's more back and forth. But I said 3-1 in my call because I really do believe Alive is a good enough. Again, he beat Innovation, right? I think he's good enough at TVT. He should have been able to take a game in the series. I'm not going to be upset that it's a 3-0 though, because I'm still a big Cure fanboy in this matchup. So. This is this is gonna be brutal. He comes in from the right side too. The tanks are distracted with the top side. Just too many units to fight with. The 1-1 is huge. The tanks go down. That's it for Alive's army. GG's. And that's gonna be all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. Cure will be your Olima League champion for the last Olima League of the month. Or well, the last weekly Olima League of the month.
This guarantees like both of these guys in the finals, though.
Yeah, it's a difference of cash and prize money for today. But so while it's not on the schedule noted anywhere, guys, it was recently changed, like recently. So this is kind of the announcement of it. Tomorrow will be the Olima League monthly finals. Now, Zomgrab sadly will not be here for that. I'll probably, like I said, just end up solo casting it. But that'll be at the same time, 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern, and whatever time it is for the rest of the world. I don't know, do your own conversions. But it'll be 8 players invited based off of points that they've earned over the last few weeks. There'll be $500 or more up for prize money, and should be some good times. So I hope you guys will consider coming back for that. Sorry, what's this? UPS. Oh, this is the pins. Yeah, so all those pins I ordered, I was really actually hoping to show off on stream today. Unfortunately, they got delayed by 2 days, but I've just got confirmation that they will be here by end of day. So tomorrow morning, I can show off handfuls of cool pins they'll be handing out at TwitchCon and BlizzCon. In the meanwhile, though, guys, I guess we'll do our plugs before we take off. So, Zombie Grub, thank you again for joining me as always. Been a pleasure. What and where are you up to? People can find you, all that stuff.
You can follow me on Twitter at TG Gaming, on YouTube and Twitch, Zombie Grub. I'll be streaming later today, maybe a bit later than usual because I got to go to a doctor's appointment. And casting Ballistics tonight. I'll be streaming the rest of the week until Friday-ish. Banshee tournament is this weekend on Saturday, but I'm actually not casting that live. I'm going to gather replays and do it at a later time. So I guess it's really to be announced. But if you're a woman and you want to sign up, I guess you still have to play that day. So that's that. And that covers it. I'll be at BlizzCon next week.
I got a question about the Banshee tournament. And this is more of a curiosity thing, and I swear to God it's not a trolling thing, right?
Okay.
How do you vet the people who are eligible in terms of like, do you handle that personally, or do you just hope people aren't going to be jerks about it? Or
yeah, I mean, there's always that hope people just aren't jerks, but basically there's like everyone kind of talks between each other in the Banshee Discord, and there's a lot of like confirmed women by other confirmed women type deal. And if one person that no one knows were to make it into like, the payouts, then I think that would be maybe when suspicions arose, but it really hasn't been a problem yet. So that's cool.
I hope it never will be. I was actually just curious though, because I've never really, I don't know. I know there's a lot of hullabaloo about it, but I'm just curious though. Thanks for the answer. Well, best of luck with all those things, and have fun at Ballistics. And I guess, I'll see you later, Zombie Grub. For me, guys, before I take off, because I'm not extending this, I would love to extend this and do other stuff, but as you've heard from my throat, it appears 3 hours is my limit, and we're pushing 4, so I'm good. I'm done. I'm sorry. And I wish I could do some more. I've got a replay I got to cast too at some point for somebody, but my voice is pretty much gone at this stage. So maybe I'll try and get it done tomorrow. I don't know. But thank you for joining us today. The best thing I could ask you to do is follow the channel. Check out Twitters of both myself and Zombie Grub. There's not really a lot of big projects going on right now. We just finished up BTSL Season 2, which was awesome. I got to do some planning for Season 3. Ting Season 5 is currently going on. That'll resume after BlizzCon, of course. But other than that, just keep watching StarCraft. Keep joining us on the channel. Consider subscribing. I mean, we didn't get that many subs today. That's okay. But consider subscribing if you want to get cool benefits and support the channel. All that good jazz. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great day doing whatever you're doing. And let's go find somebody to host. I'll look for this while I go play the end of stream commercials. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Oh,